So you can see instead of a H1, we now have the text, and status bar is actually referring to this at the top. So right now we don't actually care about status bar, so I'm gonna get rid of that. The reason why it's centered is we have this continuing work with React Native. Typically, we are used to having Flexbox default to a row. Very important point here. When you are using React Native, Flexbox defaults to a column. Because think about it, you're on a phone. It doesn't make sense to always have it in a row, so Flexbox defaults to a column. Remember that, and I'll keep on saying it over and over again throughout the build. Flexbox defaults to a column. Everything about our app is using Flexbox and how it styles itself, gets designed. So it uses a column-based approach, right? So that's how we do it. All right, let's do this, guys. Let's build some Uber. So the first thing I want to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and set up a Redux. Okay, so the first step is we're going to set up Redux. So let's actually step this out. So set up Redux.
Welcome back to the
That's
next
number one.
part of Resident Evil.
Second step we'll do is we'll go ahead and set up something like
PSVR.
let's just do Redux and we'll just handle it at each at its own point, right? So the first thing I want to do with Redux is actually go ahead and, like I mentioned before, like I'm going to show you completely transparently how you can go ahead and do it if you were starting this out. So you would type in something like Redux Toolkit, you want to go ahead and use the Redux Toolkit. It's a pretty good option for me. I would say it's the most simple way to use Redux in your app. And here you can see this is what you would typically be doing if you're using, create React app. We're not doing that. We're just using an existing app. So we're going to go ahead and do yarn add Redux.js Toolkit. Now, you might see that I'm using yarn. You can check what you're using based on your lock file. If you see package lock, then you're using npm. If you're using yarn, it's yarn lock. It doesn't matter if you want to switch, you switch, just delete the other lock file first. I don't have two, right? Kartik says, I love how Sonny breaks stuff with comments. Thank you so much, we appreciate that. Right, so I'm gonna go ahead and install this right now. So I'm gonna hit the plus button to have a second terminal. So you see a second terminal.
No.
And we're gonna wait for that to come in and load itself. Right, and then here I'm gonna go ahead and say yarn add Redux.js Toolkit. Go ahead and hit enter on that. Right, and this will go ahead and install Redux Toolkit into our application. Right, so let's keep on moving, guys. Wow! Oh my God! What? Harry Collins just dropped a £75 donation. What the hell, dude? Thank you so much. That's huge. That means we just hit £100 on chat revenue.
Let's go.
25 minutes. Guys, I'm sorry if I keep interrupting, but that is crazy. £75. Thank you so much, Harry Collins, man. Appreciate you, dude. And then Jeremias also dropped a lovely 75. I'm not sure what currency, but that's huge as well, man. That's sick. Thank you so much, man. And yes, we will be using both in the future. But yeah, that's crazy. Wow. Wow. That's crazy. I'm going to keep bringing React Native, guys. You guys are loving it. Right, so we've got let's build Uber. Right, we just went ahead and installed React Native. Right, so I'm sorry, Redux Toolkit. So the next step that we want to do is actually go ahead and actually set up something called a provider. Right, so this is our entire app. This is the high level kind of overview, the entry point of our app. What you actually want to do at this point is have something called a provider. Right, so a provider is basically a wrapper which injects our app or sort of levels our app up so that way we have Redux inside of it. So we import it from React Redux like so. And actually, you know what? I might need to actually install this. I don't think I did. So we're actually going to have to do add this as well. So we're going to do yarn add. And I'm actually going to go ahead and say React
for the
Redux as well. Okay. And then we can go ahead and install that as well. So yarn add React Redux. Wait for that to go ahead and load in.
So far
Today's all about patience. Okay, it's all about
get around of the detection system.
What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to quickly make a little tweak to my environment. 1 second. But yeah, all about patience today, guys. Do not, freak out if things aren't making sense. Don't worry if it's kind of, getting scary or anything like that. Just take your time, and everything will make sense as we continue with today's build. Okay.
That's one is strange.
Okay. Let's keep going.
I deactivate it again. How it was.
So once you've got that, we're going to go ahead and import provider from React Redux. Now I just went ahead and restarted my VS Code, so I'm actually going to have to do expo start again on my first terminal, and I will open up my second terminal on the side.
Ah, okay, I get it.
Let's keep it going. And once we've got everything running, it will be smooth. Right now, we just get a bit of hiccups while everything gets up and running. Takes a little bit of the initial get-go. Otherwise, it's all good.
Activate the another.
Oh god, it's gonna try and open Chrome again. Alright, brace yourselves, guys. So Rahul, in the meantime,
Detection,
Rahul
please.
says, is this for React Native newbies? Yes. Don't worry if you're absolutely new to React. This
I
is
understand
going to
now.
be awesome for you. Just go ahead and, like I said, break it down. I'm going to take my time with today's build so that way you guys, don't freak out and everything sort of makes sense for you. I'm going to
go this way around.
Good to go. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So now we can breathe. We can relax a little bit. My sort of something's taking up my CPU a little bit, but again, should be alright once we get started. Okay.
Let's move inside.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead, and we've already got the Redux.js toolkit. So the next step naturally is going to be to go ahead and wrap our entire app. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and wrap the app with a provider. Now with this, we're going to go ahead and install. And also guys, I wanted to mention all the code is actually available in the Papa GitHub repo, which is in the description. So make sure you go ahead and check that one out. Okay? If you want all the access to today's build. So you're going to grab the rest of your app and actually throw it up there like so. Alright, so this is the first step. Now, this is not all you need to do for React. You need to do a little bit more. You can see here it says undefined is not an object.
Well, I haven't
It's
seen
not
the
freak out
grenade
already,
here.
right? This is because when you
That is
use
fine.
React, you need
Grenade is
something
from
called a
enemies.
store. Now, if you when you use Redux, you need something called a store. Now, all Redux is, right, is it's essentially a data layer for your app. So imagine if I'm in any component inside my application and I want to share data amongst them, I introduce a data layer which surrounds my entire app, and then I can go ahead and push data in, push information into the data layer whenever I need, and I can go ahead and pull data whenever I need as well. So that's going to help us out again. We're going to be using that. That's Redux today. What is happening? David Blumen just says, looking forward to Tailwind. Interested to see what library you use. Make sure you take that water break. £20 don't. Guys, I'm speechless. I have no idea what is happening today, but thank you so much, dude. Wow. I'm going to have some sushi tonight. I'm going to call my about it. We're going to have some sushi. That's insane, guys. Thank you so much, dude. Appreciate that. That's huge. Right, and we just hit 900 likes. Wow, I'm just gonna keep the fire coming, guys. So we need a store, right? And this is basically how we set up that global layer, that data layer, right? So let's do this. Oh my god, another one! What? Corey, $20 donation.
That
Keep it up,
was
brother.
quite
Thanks
easy.
again. What is happening?
Not really
This is
challenging.
crazy, guys. Thank you so much. Oh my god, I'm sorry if if you're watching this as a replay, you can feel free to skip this part. It's all good, but I can't not shout you guys out. That's insane. Appreciate you so damn much. God damn, thank you guys. Wow, that's insane. Right, so we're gonna go ahead and create a store right now, okay? So the create a store.
Yeah, definitely
And this is pretty much
a
where
better
our
shield
store,
now.
that data layer is going to live. Now, the
There's
one
other
that
guys with
because
the
code,
wood.
like I said, it's on the actual documentation for the website for Redux, and you're looking through that stuff. So I'm just breaking it down to make it extremely simple for you today, okay? So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to copy in some of the configuration, right? So you can go ahead, pause it, and actually copy this out. The first line is configure store. This is something we take from the Redux toolkit, and it actually allows us to set up that data layer that I talked about. The second one is called a nav reducer. Now you're going to notice inside of a folder, and it's called the nav slice. Now remember I talked about the data layer, right? We can actually separate the data layer into different areas. Now we're going to have one primary
sneaky
layer in today's build where we're going to store information, and that's going to be called the navigation slice. As you can imagine, this is where the user is going to store their navigation information. What is the origin? Where is the destination? And then we can basically pull that information wherever we need it inside of our app, right? Wherever component we're inside of, I can go ahead and pull it as necessary. So we're going to have something called the nav slice, which is at that area. And then what you do is you have something called a reducer. The reducer is basically just setting up the store, right? That global layer. And you basically connect it to your navigation slice. So don't worry if that doesn't make sense. I'll explain it and we'll go through it in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and create that navigation slice right now. Okay, so I'm going to go and create a folder called slices. Once again, it looks like I'm grabbing this out of thin air, but this is actually simply from the Redux documentation. So if you do want to go ahead and read it, I would recommend you read it as well, and it's going to help you out. Right, so I'm going to go to slices, and I'm actually going to create a file inside called
Ah,
nav
yeah.
slice. And this is going to be responsible
Little bit
for
firepower,
everything that is
yeah.
inside of the navigation slice. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and set that up. So inside of nav slice, we're going to go ahead and import something called create slice. Okay. Now there is a very nice example from the Redux sort of website. So if we go to tutorials overview or quick start, I think it is, they've got a really nice sort of, you see, this is where I got the initial code base from. And the second one that we need, you see, you pass in the store and do all that stuff. This is the one that you can pretty much copy. So it's called a counter slice, right? And you can go ahead and grab this if you want to get started. But I'm actually got this thing set up already, so I'm going to show you how we do it. Now, what we first need to do is define what the initial sort of state of the data layer should look like. So we're going to have 3 primary pieces of information. We're going to have something called the origin, which, as you can imagine, is point A. This is like, you know, where are you? No, yeah, where are you right now? Pretty much. You know, the first question you ask me, where are you right now? Oh, I'm over in London, and I want to go over to, like, let's just say, I want to go to Germany, right, with an Uber. So you can do that, and there's that. So you're gonna say, I'm going to do origin no, and I'm going to do destination no, and these are the initial values that we're setting up when we do this. Okay?
Bad guys.
So then we're going to go ahead and say travel time information, and what we're going to do eventually in travel time information is we're going to
now you can have surprise, you
regarding
buddy guys.
the sort of, you know, the time that it takes to get to from A to B. We're going to use APIs to, you know, fill this information out and so forth. So again, take your time with this.
Still alive?
You know, it's one of those things that once we do the setup, it will all work pretty smooth, right? So the next thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and create that slice, right? The way we create that slice is we simply go ahead and create the following. So you just need to go ahead and put this information on the screen. So export const nav slice equals create slice, and we get create slice from the toolkit, which makes our life so much easier. And this is an object inside of the parentheses, right? So we're executing this function and we're passing it an object. So we need to give the slice a name, so that data layer, you know, the slice that we have inside of it, a name. So in this case, I'm just going to call it nav. And the second thing we want to do is pass the initial state of the sort of data layer. So I'm going to just pop that in there. Third thing I need to do is called reducers. Now, when we push information into that data layer, we need a way of actually, you know, we call it dispatching an action into the data layer, right? And what we can do is we can have different kinds of actions. So the 3 actions that we're going to have in today's build is going to be set origin, set destination, and set travel time information. So first one, imagine, you know, you go ahead and say I'm from London, or where from London. It will dispatch this set origin action into that data layer, and then now it's part of the data layer, and then we can pull it whenever we need to. Same with set destination, same with, you know, set travel time. So that's essentially what we're doing here, and this is all inside of something called a reducer. Okay, so this is actually reducer, and we're going to pop this open, and then we basically, you know, we create those actions. So the first one, we call it set origin, right? And this gives you 2 things, right? So it gives you 2 arguments when you have set origin. So this is called an arrow function. And what we have is the state, which is the current state, right? So this is the initial state, but this is the current state. The current, what does that global, you know, a layer look like at this point in time? We actually get access to that through the state object. And we also get something called an action, okay? And an action is basically when I make that dispatch from the component to the data layer. So when I basically say, okay, change this piece of information in the data layer, that's called an action. So we also get that available. So now I have the current state and I have that data, and then you can imagine you can just do something with it and change the data layer, right? So now we've got this state action. I'm going to go ahead and pop this in. So let's say for the origin, when I get, for example, an action come through, I want to change the state of the origin.
Let's go further inside the fabric.
And what you basically, the information inside of the action is something known as the payload, right? And again, do not worry if this doesn't make sense. You know, again, this is all about practicing.
It's a baddie, guys.
Right? So this will go ahead and help you out. Okay. Wow, we're almost at 1,000 likes, guys. Let's keep going. This is sick. All right. So this is how you would do it. So now when I dispatch the action, set origin, I can pass in a value, and that value will come through here, and it will go ahead and update the data layer. So this is how we do it, right? So I'm going to have 2 more examples of this. And when we come to use this, it'll make a lot more sense, and that will actually help us out a bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and pop in 2 more examples, like I said, for destination and set travel time. So I'm going to go ahead and pop those in here. So destination, set travel time, exact same, you know, sort of procedure. and we're going to go ahead and manipulate that part of the data layer with the action. So this is all part of the preparation for getting this up and running. Okay, I love your positivity, guys. Everyone's saying nice. You know, we've got Sean, Tino, Scratch. Thank you so much, guys, for your positivity. It really, really is awesome stuff. We just hit 1,000 likes already in 37 minutes. Jay, if you're watching this, my sister, god damn, dude, we're killing it. This is crazy. Wow. Tino says, what playlist are you using for the music on your stream? We're actually using the Papa Fan playlist. It's available in the description right now. All you need to do is sign up to newsletter. We send you it straight away. So definitely do that if you're enjoying the music, because this is my personal coding playlist. I listen to this when I actually code, so it's tailored for how I enjoy to code. Okay, so we've gone ahead and prepared that data layer, right? The second thing I want to do is, obviously we have this beautiful data layer. I need to expose the rest of my application to those actions, so that way I can use the actions. Otherwise, if I kind of hide it away in this file, how the hell is the rest of my app supposed to know? So we need to export these, you know, actions, so the rest of our app can pull it in and use it where we need to. So here I say export const, right? And basically we pass in all the actions here. So I'm going to say set origin, set destination, and set travel time information. And we're going to go ahead and pop this in. Now this is something called destructuring. And what we're actually doing is we're exporting our navigation slice actions, and we're pulling out these three things. And we're basically, all we're doing really right here, right, is we're accessing our navigation actions, and we're just exporting each action available, so that way the rest of the app can go ahead and tap into it. That's all we're doing here. Okay?
This way is.
So this allows us, this line here allows us to go ahead and, you know, grab that outside the app. So when we do imports elsewhere, that's why it's working. Okay. And as always, guys, if this is you know, this is tricky for you, like I said, React Basics 101 is free. Second link in the description, you can get it for free on Skillshare. So make sure you take advantage of that while it's live. Second link in the description. Yeah. Like I said, I'm trying to help you guys out wherever I can. So hopefully that should give you guys a bit of a boost up. Okay. So the second thing we need to do is actually have some selectors. So when we push information into the data layer, like I said, we need to pull it back from the data layer as well. So we just figured out how to push information to the data layer, but how do we actually go ahead and grab it from that data layer, right? The way we grab it from the data layer is we go ahead and include something called selectors. Okay, now a good practice for selectors is you have one selector for each item in your initial state. So in this case, a selector for the origin, a selector for the destination, a selector for the travel time information. So I'm going to write the first one, and here we do export. Again, we're going to use this selector to pull information elsewhere in the app, so I need to export it. Const, and we're going to say the sort of standard is you say select what the variable name is. So in this case, select the origin. And again, we get access to the state, so whatever the current state looks like. And all I'm doing here is I'm doing a direct return. So this is an arrow function where if you don't include the curly braces, it's actually a direct return. So it will return when you call this. And all we're going to do is return the state. We're going to go into the navigation slice, right? So imagine how it's kind of divided up right now. So state.nav.origin. So what I'm doing is when I call this or use this selector, it should go into the state.nav.origin and give me the current value that we have inside the data layer, right? And I'm going to repeat this for destination and travel time information. Okay, easy as that. The final thing I need to do is actually export, you know, my navigation slice, so that way, you know, I can hook it up to my store and it all works the way we need to. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to do, so Farhan says, I love your content. Will you be posting a video later on? Yes, dude. I will be posting this video. All my lives go straight up afterwards, okay? So enjoy it, and hopefully it's useful for you. So we're going to do export default because we want to have one primary export from this file. And we're actually going to call that nav slice dot reducer. Now remember, we had reducer somewhere else. You're wondering, where the hell did the reducer?
Right hand.
You know, where did I hear that before?
Sorry, bro.
We actually have the reducer.
That's not so posted.
Imagine like a string that connects this to the store. That actually is called the reducer, and we go here, and here it was. We pull that navigation reducer through from the way we export it. So it goes from here to here, and then we connect it to the store. And just like that, we now have our store set up. Right, so this is actually configured that data layer. So that was probably the most tricky part of the entire build. Right, so I kid you not, that was probably the most tricky part of this build. So now that you got past that, well done. Right, so and I see we still got 600 people that are with me now. So Let me know if the comments if that was clear enough, right? But that should have helped you out, and that's the first part of setting this up. We have the store now. We export it, which means in our app I can import it. So if I go ahead and say store equals store, and I should be able to import this from my store, right? So if you're wondering how I do that trick, yeah, I go to the end of store, control spacebar, and you see here it says store and it says auto import from store. So if I click it, boom, it found it, it imports it into the file. So we just set up Redux, boom, right? Done. We can get rid of it. So Redux is now inside of our application. Let's see if the app runs, right? So what I'm gonna do is Command J, and then here we've got a little bit of a freaking out happening. So I'm gonna do a refresh. And it says reloading. Let's see what happens. New update available, downloading. So it's building up the bundle. So give it a little bit of time, be patient with it. Let's build Uber. Amazing, right? That's amazing. That means it works. Ryan says super helpful details. Love it, right? Thank you so much, Mahidi, as well. Awesome stuff. You explain Redux each time with ease. Thank you so much, Michael. I was really worried there that I kind of went a bit fast, but I think that was I think we nailed it, guys. I think that was good. Almost about to hit 1,100 likes. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. You guys are getting, this is a permanent smile on my face right now. All right, so we have the provider done. Okay, so now we have our React Native app, and we have it supercharged it with Redux. So Redux, everyone says it's so hard to implement Redux. We did it, right? Don't worry about it. It's not that hard, right? We actually figured it out pretty good. So the second thing we're going to do is create a home screen.
Oh, hey, you're stupid.
The first screen that we see on the page, this is going to be where the home screen is. So what I actually want to do here is you should typically have a high-level overview on your app component. So at this point, I'm going to create a home screen. Now, what's really nice here, and what I would recommend is go to your extensions right now and go over and type in ES7 React Redux GraphQL snippets. Make sure you install this because it will help you out a lot. And it also works for React Native. And then what we're going to do is actually create a screens folder. So this is a standard. You go ahead and create a screens folder, and this is going to represent each of the screens in our application. So what I'm actually going to do here is create a screen. I'm going to call this the home screen.
Need a key card.
And all this is a functional component. Okay. So what I can do here is I can say React Native functional export component, so functional component which is exported, and do an S to add a style sheet in as well. And there you go. And then if you're wondering, can you do the underscore one, which doesn't include import React? You actually need to do that right now. Maybe they'll change it later for React Native, but right now you need that, okay? Guys, the retention today is sick. Thank you so much, guys. And please don't spam the chat. Thank you, Arjun, for cleaning that up. All right. So we've got the home screen. So I'm going to say I am the home screen. And I don't know if you guys know, but like this vibe is sick, right? You know, when we're coding like the music. So if you like it, again, it's available in the description. Be sure to check it out. So we've got the view here with some text on the home screen. So to get this up and running, to get it working the way that we want it, what we now need to do is go ahead and hit. So let's go ahead and just import it like a normal component. Say home screen. And you can see again, it auto imports. So home screen. If it doesn't, you can feel free to type it in. But it's pulling the home screen in. So now we should see I am.
Oh, here now the worst anime ever.
We actually get
so it's basically unswipable.
Let's see why is it not really refreshing.
Because this anime regenerates himself.
R on the app.
Sorry,
okay.
kind of
We're not actually getting this up. Let's have a look at this. Oh, it's there. So it's there. It's way at the top. Right, so it's stuck. Now, can you see this little kind of notch at the top, right? This is called the safe area, right? And this is actually not the safe area because a lot of these phones nowadays have a notch, right? And we don't want the information to ever go into that notch. So what you have to do is you have to use something called a safe area view. If you use the normal view, it will go up into the notch. Oh, we got another donation. What the hell? Oh my God, Jelena just donated $50. She said, drinks on me. Thank you for everything that you're doing for the community. Being a member of the Pub Clan and learning from your code helped me land a dream job as a React Native developer along with the Pub Clan. Jelena, she's an awesome member of our community. And if you want to join it as well, links in the description. But wow, thank you so much. Guys, we are literally... we're like nearly 200 pounds in. We just hit 1.1k likes as well. I'm speechless. This is like insane. Oh my God. Wow. This is just like, I'm speechless on that. We hit 1.1k likes. Jelena dropped some fire. Nearly at 200 pounds on the chat revenue. You guys are sick. Thank you. I'm going to promise you I'll keep this coming, right? So we've got the view over here. So what I'm going to do is actually have a safe area.
Oh, I was thinking
I'm actually
that
gonna
seat
import a
case
second
is
one called
something
safe
special.
area
No.
view, right?
Oh,
And
yeah,
this one
initial for
basically
normal
just
pistol.
accounts for any, unsafe area. So depending on what phone you're on, it will account for it. So now all I need to do is replace the safer, the normal view with that, hit save, and then you can see, look, it actually goes inside the view now. So that prevents, that issue of, having sort of things creep up into that the space that we don't want it to go into. Okay, so there we go. We have the home screen looking pretty decent right now. Now what we can do is I'm going to give you a quick example of how you can style something. So imagine we've got this text here, and I'm going to say style equals, and then we've got our style sheet down here, which is similar to our kind of CSS. And yes, you can export that and have it in a separate file. But here I'm going to say styles dot, right? And for this text, I'm just going to show you an example. If I did like text, right, and I said let's just say the color is blue.
You inside?
And I went ahead and did styles dot text. You can see it changed to blue, right? Now you can code like this.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with coding like that in React Native, right? There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But what I would recommend is it gets a little bit kind of, I would say it gets a little bit tedious in my opinion. I don't like it. I love Tailwind. I like the quick speediness of Tailwind. So what I would recommend, guys, is instead what you actually go ahead and do is, oh, what's up, Roland from Uganda? What I would say is instead you include something called Tailwind. So it's actually called Tailwind. I'm going to show you guys Tailwind React Native class names. So it's this one here. Okay, so I'm actually going to go ahead and drop this into the application right now. What this does is it allows you to go ahead and have a Tailwind-like syntax to go ahead and do things. And you can also have Android, so it only apply a style for Android and so forth. If you're new to Tailwind, definitely check out another build or a Tailwind YouTube channel. It's sick. Them guys are doing an awesome job over there. And if they're watching this ever, you guys are awesome. So carry on doing what you're doing, right? I love what you guys are doing, and it helped me out so much in terms of coding. So we're going to install this. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this. I'm going to do yarn add. Let's go ahead and do Command J. Second terminal, and do yarn add and paste. So yarn add Tailwind React Native class names. So I'm going to show you how it works. Now, it doesn't have every single thing, right, that is available in Tailwind, but it has most of it, right? I mean, most of the stuff that you probably need, right? And that's for various reasons. Remember, it needs to go ahead and compile down with Android and all that stuff. So it needs to be, it's a bit harder to account for everything. So what we do is once we do it, we just import this Tailwind object. Okay? Now imagine I get rid of these styles. So we should go back to the boring, oops, let's get back to this. We should get back to the boring sort of, black text, okay? Looks pretty boring right now. So I'm going to go ahead and say style equals, and I'm going to do Tailwind and then backticks, okay? Now I can use my typical Tailwind stuff. So if I went ahead and said text, let's say red 500, we actually get red text. And if I did P10, we actually get a padding of 10 as well. So you see how much quicker it is to use Tailwind with this. Now, if I wanted to combine Tailwind with what we're doing here, right, with the normal sort of style syntax, I can put an array here, and I can do a comma, and then I can have my normal sort of, I can either at this point type in styles.text and so forth.
It
so
already sounds bad.
If I do this now, it will apply this, then it will apply styles.text, in which case it override it. Or you can actually have inline if you really wanted to here, and you can have color, let's just say purple, and then you can see it goes to purple. Okay, so that's my introduction into going ahead and doing this, right? So you should now know that we can combine the two, and that will help you understand how we go ahead and build the rest of it out. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do is for the safe area view right now, I'm actually going to include a style, and this style is going to
anime that's self-regenerate.
It's going to say the background is going to be white. So BG white, and I want to have a height of a full. I want to have a full height basically. Okay. Now, if I want to show you if this is actually working, BG red 100. You can see it changed the color of it, and you get all the different shades. So if I do 900, you get that as well. I'm going to do BG white, so we get a white background. This is going to be the home screen, right? So it's going to be relatively nice, simple to have a home screen up here. Okay, so this is looking pretty good right now. I want to have the Uber logo next, okay? So what I'm actually going to be doing here is having a view, right? I'm going to have a sort of a container inside our app. So it's similar to a div, right? So instead of this, I'm going to have a view. Okay, and inside my view, just remember, whenever you see a view, just think of a div. Very similar to do, right? We still have 600 likes. Wow, 1,100 likes. Guys, we're about to hit 1,200. Keep on, smash the thumbs up button if you're enjoying this right now. And awesome stuff, right? Karthik says, where do I sign up for the challenge? First link in the description. So check it out, dude. Okay, so we've got the view here. So I'm going to go ahead and use an image tag. This is new. This is actually something which we use in React Native. So I'm going to import this from our lovely React Native module, and then we've got this now. So what the first thing I want to do here is actually have an Uber logo. So I've made it very simple for you guys. I've actually shortened all the URLs. So what we have here is actually a nice sort of source attribute that we can pass in. Now I'm going to pass in a JSX sort of tag right here, so we have to put the quick squiggly brackets. Nice. And then I'm going to pass in an object, and then here this takes something called a URI, which is similar to a URL, Uniform Resource Identifier.
Oh, I think we
here
need a special type
the
of
URL or the image, right? So you can go ahead and copy that. I made it. It's pretty simple for you guys to copy. Now it's not showing. That's because we need to give it a style. Okay, so we need to actually pass this in a style, and you guessed it. I'm actually going to go ahead and use. I'm probably going to use an inline style here actually. So for this one, I'm going to pass in a style, style, and I'm actually going to say something like, let's go ahead and have, what am I doing? It should be style equals, wait a second, what am I doing? Oh, yeah, okay, there we go. Got a bit mixed up there. Outside, right? So for the source here we're going to have a style. I was wondering, I was like, what the hell is my, what's everything going wrong? Right, so we got this. Now we're actually going to do an inline style here and say width should be, let's just say 100, height should be 100. And you'll see there's times where I use tailwind, there's times where I use the normal stuff. It's because in some situations I don't have the right, I don't have the right modifier.
We need
tailwind,
energy.
so I just use the actual native CSS. And here I'll say contain. Okay. Now you'll notice when we're doing this, it has camel casing, so that's just a slight difference to know about. There we go, Uber. Right, so we have Uber there. Now Uber's touching the side. I don't like that. So I'm going to go to the view which is surrounding everything, add a style, and to make our life easier, we're going to use tailwind tactics afterwards. And we'll say padding of 5. And if you just do P5, it means all around, top, left, bottom, right. Boom, pads it out. Now it looks a little bit better. Looks already quite nice, right? Okay, this is looking sick. Let's carry on going, guys. So what we're going to do now. Oh, nice. George says, what's up, Sonny? You're amazing, man. Keep it a great way. I appreciate you, George. Thank you for watching, dude. And still 600. I can't believe you guys. You guys are incredible.
Oh, got it.
Remember, sign up for the challenge. Starts next Tuesday. First link in the description. Airbnb, huge challenge next week. And it's going to be complete from beginner, or if you want to go ahead and, up your skills with if you've coded before in React and you haven't done Next.js, perfect place for you. £10,000 worth of prizes. It's going to be sick. Be there. First link in the description. Okay. So we've got Uber up here. Now, what I want to do next is I'm actually going to go ahead and have, let's think about this. I'm going to have, firstly, let's have the navigation options, right? So the navigation options are going to be the stuff where you saw, it says like get a ride or get a sort of order some food, right? I'm actually going to have those things first. Right, so we're actually going to create that right now. So I'm actually going to create a new folder called components, because I'm going to create a reusable component here. So components. Inside the components folder, I'm going to create something called nav options.js. Okay. And for nav options, this is going to be, again, like I mentioned, these are going to be two sort of cutouts that are going to have everything that we need. So React Native functional component with style sheet. There we go. Simple as. And inside here, we're going to use a few new things. So you're going to get introduced to quite a lot of new tech today. We don't actually need access to the style sheet, so we can simplify ourselves here. Okay. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this inside the home screen. So underneath, inside of our view, I'm actually going to have nav options like so. So it's imported it up at the top. And there we go. We've got nav options. Okay. So obviously we can't see anything now because we have nothing in nav options, but we're going to keep on crushing it with this. Okay. So check this out. So I'm going to say hello world, hit save, and we should see hello world. That's because nav options is being populated there. Now, I've got two pieces of information right now, okay? So I've got, let's check this out. I've got a data array.
That can happen.
So this is an array which has two pieces of information. Each one has a unique ID. In this case, I've kept it simple: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because any kind of item in a list or anything which is shown in a list format should have different IDs. So we've got IDs here. The first title is going to be get a ride. The second title is going to be order food. right? So this is going to eventually render out the two sort of, you know, things that you see on the screen. Each one's going to have an image. One's going to have a picture of a car. One's going to have a picture of some food. And then the screen that you hit. So basically, when I click that button, what screen should it go to? So right now we're on the home screen. But once we, you know, implement React Native navigation, it should go to the map screen, and this one goes to the eat screen, which we're not going to build today, right? So it's just a sort of demo feature, right? So you see that's why we're in change in future. So whenever you have a list of items that you want to render out in React Native, to render it out optimally, you use something called a flat list. Now a flat list is one component. It takes some data, in this case it's
first
array
ID
of data,
card.
we call it data. And then what we do is we have
First
something
store.
called a render item. So it will go through that list, and for every single time it sees an item on there, it will go ahead and it will render out whatever you tell it to render out. So I'm going to do that right now.
Yep.
And we're going to see an example
This
of that.
enemy is really worse.
That was a flat list.
Sogar der wird von Parasiten
Okay, so
kontrolliert.
auto import from React Native, and then it's a self-enclosed component. This will actually sort of eventually render out everything that we need. Okay, so what we're going to do,
Something here?
we're actually going to go ahead and say, first thing is we're going to pass in the data. Right, so this is actually the data, and then the second thing is, typically it's a vertical list. I want this to be a horizontal list, and then I'm going to say for each item, what shall we do? We should be doing something. In this case, you actually get the item itself, what that you're iterating through. So you get this, and so basically, first thing is it's an arrow function. It returns something.
To go to the
So it's an arrow
first.
function which is going to return a component. But every time we loop through, we get a destructured item. So basically, this means
this
that we
one.
get access to the
Oh,
individual
and we need the
items we're
power
looping through.
first.
So what I want to show on the screen, if I use
First
item.title,
switch off
for
on
example,
power.
I'll get the get right when I'm rendering something on the screen. So let's just give this a quick test, okay? So I want the actual sort of things that get rendered on the screen to be touchable. I want to be able to touch them, and then it looks like I'm actually touching a button. So in React Native, we call this touchable opacity, because when I touch it, the opacity should change. So it looks like a sort of touchable element. So I'm going to say render out a touchable opacity, and you also have a few other things, touchable highlight and all sorts of other stuff. Compressible is another one. Touchable opacity. So I'm going to import that from React Native. There we go. And this touchable opacity is actually parent component. And inside of it, I'm just going to say, for a quick example, text, I'm just going to say item.title, right? So item.title. And then let's go ahead and hit save, right? So
Wow,
you see
this
get
type of
arrive,
enemy.
order food. So right now they're just being rendered next to each other. If I got rid of the horizontal, you'll see it renders out this. And notice how flat list is a list, so it's draggable. Okay? Now if I click it, you see how the opacity changes. Right, so obviously it's a little bit hard to see that, but I can't zoom into the phone at this point. So you can see now that it looks pretty good right now. Okay, so obviously we're going to make that look beautiful. Now, whenever you have a list, you should have a key, right? So what they have is a nice little attribute here. It's called key extractor. And what key extractor is it simply goes ahead and gives you the item. So again, when you look through
I know
item ID, you know, all this stuff, it'll give you that. And what we're going to do is we're going to select the item.id to be the unique identifier for our key. If you don't know why you need a key, you should always be using a key. I show all my builds with keys. It allows them to know, you know, like if you add an item in the list, it says don't re-render everything, just re-render the one sort of entry that you need to. Okay, pretty good, right? Next thing I'm going to do is actually going to go ahead and let's create an image that gets rendered out as well. So we've got our. I'm actually going to do something a bit more complicated than just the text out. So I'm actually going to have a view inside. So imagine like a div, and inside this I'm going to have an image, a text, and an icon. So I'm going to introduce some icons and React Native elements in it as well. So I'm going to firstly say I want to render out an image. Now we already used an image. We know how to do this, right?
So
it's not
what we can do?
relatively, you know, it's not going to be super new. I just did it before with the Uber logo. So firstly, we need to actually import that in. So I'm going to go to this control space bar at the end of our component, go down, it should say auto import, hit enter, it's now imported, nice. Then we're going to go ahead and say source, right? So source over here. Source should take an argument, and we're going to
come on.
URI, or, so we are going to pass the URI. And this URI is going to come from the data, so the item. So in this case, item.image. So item.image. Hit save. There we go. Now again, you can't see it, but you get to make a style. So in this case, I'm going to give it a style, and each item that we see is going to have a width of 120, a width of 120, and a height of 120. Okay, so height of 120. Let me know if you're enjoying this, by the way. 1.2k likes. That's what I'm talking about, guys. The energy today is sick. We still have 550 people watching. This is so amazing to have you guys here. Honestly, 1.2k likes. Let's keep on going, guys. Absolutely incredible stuff. Right? Width, height, and let's carry on. So we're gonna have also resize mode contained, and this is basically like, you know, it's gonna keep the aspect ratio that we've seen contained before. And there you go. We have a car and we have some food. Right? So this is looking good already. And that's because it's looping through and it's showing it. Now again, I actually want to put back the horizontal because I want it to be a horizontal list. Right, nice. We've got two options coming up. This is looking pretty clean at this point, right? Tech guy says, hello, Sonny. What's up, dude? You can change it to classes. Remember, anytime I do an inline, you can class it, right? You can also add tailwind to it. I'm showing you a range of different things today, so that way you guys can use it or combine it however you want, right? It's just to teach you how to, you know, you can actually have multiple things. It doesn't have to be one, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have some text. Now this text is going to have item.title. There you go. And now we should see get a ride or the
Okay, we have to make space
and then I also
for
want
this
an
one.
icon. Right, I want an icon actually underneath it, which is kind of like a go sort of arrow sign, right? So for this, we're going to be using something called React Native Elements, right? So before I actually do that, I'm going to style this a little bit more so it looks a little bit decent before we carry on. So I'm going to go ahead and go into here, add a style, and we're going to be using our beautiful tailwind, right? So tailwind, if we are going to use it, we're going to need to import it up at the top over here. So I'll import tailwind from React Native class names. Hit save, and then here I'm going to say tailwind, and I'm going to give it firstly a few different changes, right? So I'm going to give it a padding of 2, right? So there it pads a little bit more. Padding left of 6, right? So I'm going to give it a padding left of 6. I want to give it a bit more padding on the left. Padding bottom of 8 for later, right? So if I do that right now, you can see a bit more spacing, and a padding top of 4, right? So I've actually overridden a lot of the padding too. And then we're going to say background should be gray, so BG gray 200. Keep it kind of light. And then you see they're touching right now. So I'm going to do a margin of 2 so that they're not touching. And a width of 40 gives it a nice kind of space, right? So that already is looking pretty damn good, right? Oh, you know what? You guys are saying hydrate. Do you know why I'm not hydrating so much? Because I don't know what it is, guys. The bladder's not holding as strong as it used to. And these streams get on for longer and longer. So I will hydrate. I'm going to literally do a dab today. We'll keep that. That's enough for now. Right, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to I've got some new tracks here as well. So I actually like this track. I was going to the other day. Oh, this is kind of cool. Right, so let's get to 1.3k likes, guys. Let's do this. Gushan says, thank you for your videos. They help me a lot. This is looking pretty good. Right, we're doing a good pace. Let's carry on with the momentum. Right, so for the text, I'm going to say style. Right. And can you guys hear the music well, by the way, or not? Is it too loud, too quiet? Let me know. Right. So here for the style, I'm going to say, Luke says, gotta go, Sonny, but I'll be doing this over the weekend. Amazing stuff, dude. Luke, thank you so much once again. Yeah, so here I'll say style, and then I'm going to say tailwind, dash, sort of the back ticks. And then I'll see MT2, right? Margin top 2, and I'll make the text kind of larger. There we go, looks a little bit better now. Font semi-bold.
Oh, okay.
Semi-bold as well. And look at that, it looks a lot cleaner. Thank you so much.
Let's take another one down.
It says, I'm your Korean big fan. I can't read the name. It says, I can speak English.
They are much easier to defeat.
Thank you very much.
Since the difficulty on this enemy is different to the flat version.
Thank you so much. So that's looking pretty clean at this point. Right?
Just go down.
Yeah. So now I want to have a logo, right? To finish this off, I want to have a nice little logo. So to have the logo, I'm actually going to install it. Yeah, right, so I'm going to go over here, back to my browser, typing around here. I'll show you guys. This is awesome library with the material design system. So we've got nice material design. Click get started, and he's John at the development to get started. I'm going to do this, and you can use npm. It's up to you. We're not going to get into a debate. Yarn add React Native elements. See what I mean? It's kind of catchy, right? Elfan saying this build will go viral. Hell yeah, dude. Next week's challenge should go viral. Remember, first link in the description, sign up. Right, there we go. We've installed it. We just did React. What did we do? We just did yarn add React Native elements. Awesome stuff, guys. Continue on. Just got a job as a front end dev thanks to your builds. Thank you so much, Mamik Das. That's sick. Right? Carla says looks a bit complicated, but yeah, don't worry about it, dude. Remember, if you're finding this complicated, second link in the description is the React Basics 101 pack that I give you for free on Skillshare. So check out that link. It's only for a little bit, so it will go after a while. So check it out now. Okay, this is pretty cool. We've got that as well. Now the next thing we need to do is actually add in the icon pack. So you see here, yarn add React Native vector icons. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that in as well. So yarn add React Native vector icons. I just says it's a guitar. Yeah, it's proper. It's catchy, you know. I find it well catchy. All right, while that's loading up, yeah, it's just a little change of scenery. There we go. Let's carry on. Nice. Okay, so we've got UberClone YouTube. There we go. We've done it. React Native vector icons. Once we've done that, guys, we need to now go ahead and also finally add in this. This is the yarn add React Native safe area context. Now, this is not the typical safe area that we know. This is kind of for the icon, so that way they know where they're at and they don't kind of go into dangerous areas. So we need to go ahead and actually install that as well. Right, so let's go ahead and do yarn add React Native safe area context. Again, it's different to the one that we were using previously. Okay, awesome stuff. All right, Segan, says great job, Sunny. Thank you so much, dude. Appreciate the support. Let's carry on. So we've done that now, and then we're going to go ahead and actually see this import from React Native safe area context provider, and then we're going to actually wrap the entire app. Again, app should be a high level overview of your entire app. Right, makes sense because it's called app. So we go over to app.js. And then we go ahead and do import safe area provider. And it's up to you where you want to put this. I actually have a preference here. I would say chuck it underneath your provider here. Just go ahead and pop it in here. So let's go ahead and chuck it there. So you see, notice the convention here. You have providers. These are just known as higher order sort of components, right? So safe area provider. Let's actually damage this bit a little bit. So I'm going to fix that in a second. We'll sort that out. Don't worry about it. Right, then we hit save, and now we've got a safe area provider with our home screen. Okay, so I'm going to go into my home screen and let's check this out. So my safe area view, interesting. So right now something's screwed up. So let's just go back to my actual application and let's just refresh the bundle. R for reloading. There we go. Something went weird there. Right. And again, use this for your sort of controls, right? If you hit question mark to get all the sort of options as well, if you ever get lost, right? That's always kind of a handy thing that helps me out. And if you need to kind of access the developer tools, you can press D here. And, oh no, oh, damn it, I opened up. Okay, here we go. We're opening up Chrome. Wait for the computer to start screaming. Right. Oh God, when I'm live, I do not use Chrome. It's horrible. Okay. There we go. See, oh my God, it maxes my RAM when I do that. All right, Chrome's not our friend when we're live, guys. Okay, let's carry on. So this is looking pretty good. Okay, now when I click get a ride, so firstly let's add in the logo, the icon, I guess, nav options. Let's go over to navigation options and let's go ahead and add in the logo down here. So what's really nice about this library, right, and what's pretty cool about React Native elements is that they give you a bunch of things. You get components like over here, you get tons of different components that you can go ahead and use. They give you examples. The one I'm interested in a lot of the time is icon packs. Okay, so you can actually go ahead and use the icon packs. They have quite a nice little directory where you can actually search it as well. You can just type in React Native elements icon searcher and you'll find it, and that's where you can pretty much search through. But you see, you get access to all these different icon sets. Okay, so all you have to do is pass in a few values that will actually allow you to go ahead and get these different things, right? So what we can do is we can say access the ant design icon set and get me the, you know, the arrow right or something like that, and that typically works really, really well. Okay, so let's carry on. So we're going to actually use this to get that built now. So I'm going to go ahead and pop in the icon. Okay, now the icon is going to be, so adjust. So we've got the icon over here, and guys, we're so close to 1.3k likes. So the icon, we're going to go ahead and say here, the type is going to be from ant design, and I'm actually going to go ahead and pass in the color and the name of the sort of exact icon that I want. Right, so you can see it says cannot find the icon variable. That's because we need to import it from React Native elements like so. Right, pop that in there. and then we should be able to see it pop through in just a second. Okay, if it does ever get stuck, you can go ahead and just do R to reload your app manually. It says new update. There we go. Boom. And then you can see now we get a nice little icon, right? But that's not all, right? It doesn't look that good at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my actual icon itself, and I'm going to override its style. Oh, actually add in some more styles, right? Now, this is what I love about Tailwind. You can do so many nice little circle tricks. I'm going to say style equals Tailwind, backtick. Material, margin top 2. Give it a little bit more distance from the top. And then I'm also going to say, oh, sorry, padding of 2. And then I'm going to give it a background of black. Hit save.
Still alive?
And then we should see in a second. So it's not actually hot refreshing quite that nice. Let me double check. Did I turn something off? Let's do so hot refresh. Toggle opening developer tools. Open up blah blah blah. Select project. Toggle menu. Hot refresh. Oh, we're good. Okay, so I guess I'll hit save afterwards and it'll work. So we'll do BG black, and then here I'll say rounded full. And I'll do width of 10 and a margin top of 4. Okay, now hit save on that. If I go back to my app and just hit R to refresh, right? Sometimes it's not going to refresh well, but there you go. That looks awesome, right? That looks really nice, right?
What if
so
I to do to set
That's a very good question, actually. Does the auto-complete work for Tailwind? That's the only thing I'll say it doesn't work when you're doing React Native, unless you found an extension that I didn't, right? But overall, yeah, that's what I found. Okay, so this looks pretty good at this point. So that's pretty sick. Now, when I click get a ride, I want it to shift me over to another screen. And that screen, we actually provide over here. So map screen is this case, right? So the first step is I'm going to create the map screen itself. So that way we have something to shift over. Then I'm going to implement something called React Native Navigation, which will actually allow us to have that screen switching. And you know that really nice kind of swipe back functionality, or on Android you have the back button. All of that stuff will work once we implement this. So get ready for that, okay? Smash the thumbs up button if you enjoying this, right? Still have 500 people, 1,000 people watching right now. That's sick. Let's keep going, guys. So Command B, I'm gonna go to my screens, and then here I'm gonna go ahead and say map screen. Right, so I'm gonna do map screen.js. React Native functional export with style sheet. Boom. Right? And then here I'll say here is the map stuff. ... Save.
4 of them.
Okay, so we've got the map screen over here. And then what we're going to do is I'm actually going to have, so right now in app.js, we only render a home screen, right? So how do we have, you know, 2 screens? How does that work? And how do we do all this sort of navigation stuff? So we're going to use something called a React Native Navigation. This is an awesome library that allows us to do our navigation for our React Native apps. So you can go ahead and read the docs. And again, I'm showing you this because it's going to be handy for you to go ahead and do it in your journey and go ahead and, you know, research and see how I'm doing this stuff. And I think that's going to help you out quite a lot, right? So let's keep on going, guys. And remember, if it's kind of hard for you, second link, React Basics 101 from Skillshare for free. It'll help you get up to scratch.
The biggest use case I have also not enough
pick Yarn add React Navigation native.
Oh,
come back here. Come on, J.
This
come on, B
is a nice one.
Sidebar.
Yes.
Let's do that now. Come on, J. Come on, B. And then second terminal. And I'm going to do Yarn add React Navigation.
Now I really need place.
Okay. Aditya, what's up, dude? Now, what we're going to do is we have to install a few other things,
so
right? So in this case, you see,
I have to search
this is interesting here. So Expo install, not Yarn add or Yarn install. This means that Expo is going to do a bunch of more kind of complicated installs. And as I mentioned before, Expo is awesome because it will handle the iOS dependencies and Android. And all we do is do Expo install, right? We don't have to handle all this other stuff, which if you've done React Native CLI stuff, you know what I'm talking about. Expo simplifies it. So we're going to click copy here. Go over to my code and paste that. You can see Expo install, and there's a bunch of different. When it has a space, it's installing more than one dependency. So these are all the things that we need to allow us to get our React Native navigation working.
Stingray.
Karthik says, I like how you say native. Delcio is, this guy is awesome. Thank you so much, dude. Appreciate you. If you're new to the channel, let me know right now. Love to see who's watching for the first time. Okay, so we got this up and running, and we got that working pretty good. We've done all of this stuff. Now I'm going to go ahead and I need to import this into my app.js file to get everything loaded in the way I need it. So Go back over to our file, pop this in at the top, gesture handler, that's also, you know, swipe back and all that stuff.
Okay.
Right? And then we go down and then we need to do the navigation container. So another provider-like syntax, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead, pop this here, and where do we wrap this one, right? So safe area providers here, I would say have it, this is sort of, you know, still presentational kind of, so I would say above, underneath the provider. And I'm gonna say navigation container. So underneath my Redux provider, I mean. I'm gonna grab this, pop this up here. Hit save. And then now make sure it all works, right? So it says refreshing. If it freezes like mine, I think it's only freezing for me because I'm live, but I'm gonna do R to refresh. And then you see it comes back, right? Everything's good. I would recommend, you know, constantly doing that because it's gonna actually help you out a little bit, right? 1.3K likes, boom. 500 people watching this still. So sick, so grateful. Wow, I can't believe that, guys. Honestly, right? React Native content is killing it, right? So we've got the safe area provider home screen. Okay, cool. So the next thing we're gonna do is click next, and I'm showing you this again because I want you to go through it yourself. Click yarn, and you want to install the stack. Now, what the hell is a stack, right? While it's installing, I will go ahead and tell you what a stack is. So a stack, while it's installing, stacks. All they are basically, imagine if I'm on one screen and I press the button to go to the map screen. Think of, I have a stack. So when I'm on the home screen, this is my stack, right? When I press like the go to the map screen or I go to that screen, I stack on something. Now, when I swipe back, it knows to pop off that thing and it goes back a screen. Right, so this is called a stack navigator. That's why it's called stack, because you literally stack screens up and then you can swipe back, swipe back, swipe back, and then you can keep going down and down, down. That makes it really kind of cool to do pretty easy stuff, and that is built in with, you know, swipe back feature on iOS, the little back button on Android. Everything works kind of, you know, quick and swiftly out the box.
So now we have more.
And installed that. The next thing I'm going to do is actually go ahead and set up our stack navigator. Okay, so you see here it says create a stack navigator. So we're going to import the create stack navigator. Let's go ahead, and we've got we got Ukraine in the house. Nice, awesome stuff. Guys, if you're watching and you're not already subscribed, please remember, hit the subscribe button. It helps the channel out hugely. And yeah, I really appreciate it. So what we need to do is actually create something called a stack. Right? And again, this is just preparing us for that stack of pages where we can swipe back and all that stuff. Right? So we're going to do const stack equals create stack navigator, and then what we need to do is actually create something called the stack navigator. Right? So where am I going to put this? I'm going to put this all inside of, let's put it inside of the safe area provider. Now what I'm actually going to do is, you know, get rid of that for a second. So it's all in the safe area provider, and I'm going to say stack dot navigator. Okay. And this is going to be a navigator, and basically what we do now is we include all the screens that we can possibly navigate to. Right, so in this case we've got map screen, home screen, and the way we do that is we say stack.screen. This is similar to like React Router, right? So similar to React Router and the different routes that we can have. Very similar approach. Right, so this is actually going to be stack screen with a capital S, so make sure you don't make that mistake. It's a self-closed component, and it takes some attributes. The name of this screen is going to be home screen. Now this is important, these names, because you use that to navigate to different screens down the line. What screen should render when we're here? We're going to say we should render out the home screen component when we try and go there. Home screen, okay? And then you can pass in, you know, additional options, right? So I'm going to leave it as that for now and show you what happens. I'm going to get rid of my home screen here, and we should see that this actually works pretty nice. Right, so if I go ahead and do this, again, I need to do Command J and hit my manual refresh. Okay, there we go, it worked. And now you can see, look, we're on a screen called home screen. Now, in Uber, yeah, I don't really like that, right? I mean, like, that works pretty nice in the beginning. Right? And what happens is if you go to the next screen, it will have a nice little back arrow and all that stuff. Well, I want to do some custom design today, right? So the way you can get rid of that is you can do it two ways. You can do it in the component, home screen, or you can do it here, right? So here we can do options, and we can pass an object array. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit save. An object array of options. Now here I can say header shown. Oh, we got a donation from G.Skill. Keep it up, man. Don't worry, dude. I really appreciate anything. That's huge. Thank you so much, man. I really massively appreciate you for watching and tuning in. Awesome stuff, man. Okay, so let's continue on. Oh, this is so sick, man. You guys are awesome. Right, so header shown. Now you can see it got rid of that header, right? So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to create another screen called the map screen. Okay, so what I can do here is I can literally copy and paste, and we're going to call this one the map screen, and this is going to be for the map screen component. And you see each one can have different header shown and all that sort of stuff. Now, did we create our map screen yet? Yes, we did. Okay, so here is the map stuff. So what I can do now is go back and I can import it. So go to the end of the line here, control spacebar, and sometimes it doesn't work, but let's try and find it. Did I import it, map screen? No, so I can just, you know, rename this to map screen and change that, map screen. There we go, we've got our map screen. Hit save. Okay, is everything still working?
Completely
good.
Wrong,
we're happy, we're good, we're pretty in a nice place, right? So now what we're gonna do, guys, is we are gonna go ahead and say, oh nice, John Smith, thank you so much, dude. I think you just dropped a little donation. It came through somewhere, but I appreciate that, dude. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and when I click get a ride, I want it to navigate to that screen. So you're going to see how we do navigation now, okay? A few ways you can actually approach this. So we go to the home screen. Now, because the home screen is, you know, it's rendered here underneath our navigator, we can actually get the home screen, like something called a navigation prop. Now, this can be kind of, you know, like a tedious. It looks a bit messy, right? So I like to use something called the use navigation hook. Also, thank you so much for Brian Creighton, who just dropped $5 donations, saying your videos are always fire. Appreciate you, dude. You guys are getting me hyped up today. I have so much energy, honestly. I was pretty nervous about this one. I was like, it's a huge build. How are we gonna do it? How are we gonna do this one? But you guys are killing it. You guys are being awesome. Thank you so much for being, you know, just strong as always. This is what Papa Farm's about, right? And we're almost at 1.4K likes. Let's keep going. All right. So when I click get a ride, we should be able to transition over, right? So how the hell do we do that? So when I go to we're actually going to do it on the click here. So I'm going to go to my nav options, and then for the touchable opacity, so which is each of these things that get rendered out. So when we render the item out, what do I want to do? Right, so I want to get access to that use and navigation, sort of, you know, that navigation prop allows me to navigate around. So I'm going to say const navigation equals use navigation. And you see I get a bunch of auto imports, so I can go ahead and help myself out here. And this is the same thing as doing this and pulling, but except we get nice auto-complete, we get a bunch of other stuff, and it's just better in my opinion. It looks cleaner, it's a lot more easier to help me out with. I prefer this approach, right? I'm gonna hit save now, and then what I'm gonna do here is I'm actually gonna have some cool navigation stuff happening. So when I press the touchable pass, so typically we're used to on click on React, right? Here I do on press. And what I do is I pass in, it takes an arrow function. So there we go, on press instead. And I do navigation dot navigate, right? And here what we actually do is we pass in a name or a string, and that string directly correlates to the name that we gave here for the stack screen. So that's how it knows where to go, right? That's how it knows what to do and where to go. In this case, that map screen comes through on the props here. So you see map screen. So what I can do here, oops, I've got a call coming in. Oh, there we go, get rid of that. All right, so what I'm actually going to do now is go ahead and do the following. Oops, where's my stuff gone? Where's my music gone? There we go, we're back. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and say, where am I gone? Yeah, item.screen. So I'm going to do the following. So I'm going to say item.screen, okay? And then save. Right, item.screen. So now if I do this, ooh, navigate over, right? Now obviously we don't have a safe area view for that component, but if I swipe back now, oh, that's smooth, guys. That's really nice, right? And if I try and go to this one, it says, "Ooh, you don't have, you know, a screen that's loaded. Do you have a screen named screen?" So you see, it makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Smash the thumbs up button if that did make a bit of sense, right?
Yes,
what's up, Nancy? What's up, Julius? What's up, Adria? Nice stuff, good stuff, guys. Right, so in this case, get a ride works, right? That's awesome. So we've got some navigation working right now.
Oh, the screw maybe is inside this.
Is I'm actually going to go ahead and create these under sort of UI components, right? And then we're also going to have the Google Auto Places complete, all that good stuff happening shortly, right? So right now, in fact, you know what? Let's do the Places API. I want to have an input field, and when I type in, it comes out with some cool stuff, right? I want to have, you know, when I type in that input field, it'll say, you know, like London, you know, so America, Canada, or Germany, and the different locations, addresses, and everything. I want to do that stuff right now, and that's going to use something called the Google Places API. Okay, almost at 1.4K likes, amazing stuff, guys. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my home screen. I'm actually going to render out. So on my home screen, I've got, where is it? Yeah, I've got the, actually use a package called Google Places Auto Complete. Okay, so that's very powerful.
Oh, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
I'm going to use now. So if I go over here, I type in React Native Google Places Auto Complete. We're going to use this. Okay, so this is a helper library, so an actual module that we can use, and this is the goal that we need to achieve there. We're going to have this kind of auto complete functionality. What we need to do is add this package to our project. Okay, and we need to get a Google Places API key as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do this now. So I'm going to go ahead and say Command J, go to my ZSH, yarn, and Places Auto Complete. There we go. Right. The energy today is actually untouchable. I think it's actually the most insane. It's mind-blowing. Remember, I am running a challenge next Tuesday, so sign up.
Otherwise, it's not possible.
The Airbnb it's huge. £10,000 worth of prices, right? So it's looking pretty good right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this, and here we need to go ahead and say something. Now, when you get these keys, right? So what I mean by keys are, we're going to be using the Google Directions API, right? So there's three things that we're actually going to be using in today's build. It's going to be the Directions API, the Google Places API, which is and then the Distance Matrix API. All the different things for, like where it tells me how long it will take to get from point A to point B and all other stuff, right? So I would recommend that you need to go ahead and you do need to enable billing on your Google account, but it's completely free up until a certain point, so don't worry. Right, remember, these are demos, they're meant for you to learn and stuff like that. So you just need to do that, and that doesn't mean you just freak out at this point and leave. It means you just do that. We're going to click on this Google Places API. So what you need to do to get this is go to, in fact, what we do is go to Google Cloud Platform. So Google Cloud Platform. Okay, and then what we do here is we go ahead and you go to cloud.google.com. Okay, and now here you want to go ahead and have your Google account. Click on console.
Stupid desk! You're on my way.
I've got a few different projects. It'll probably load up one of my old projects. So we've got Netflix, we've got a bunch of other stuff. So what I'm actually going to do here is go to the top, and you just need to create a new project. Now there's a few ways of doing this. If you create a Firebase project, say you want to use Firebase down the line, you create a Firebase project, it will get created here as well. Or you can go into cloud.google.com and do it from here yourself. I'm going to click on new project over here, right? So new project, and I'm going to go ahead and say something like, let's just type in let's just say Uber demo YouTube, right? And then create. Okay, this is nice, and it's going to create the project over here, right? So once that's done, I can click on this drop down here, and I can see, you see it's creating that for me, right? So if I click that, give it a second, Uber demo YouTube, I'm going to click that, right? And then once that's done, I can go down here to my navigation. I'm going to go down to APIs and services. Now, again, as I mentioned, you need to enable a billing account there, right? So to make all this sort of API stuff work, create a billing account, set it up. I'm not going to go into it now, but you're going to need to do that. It's very easy to do, by the way. Then you go to your dashboard for your API services. Okay? Don't worry, don't let this freak you out. Remember, just take the video slow. It'll work, and you'll enjoy this. Trust me. 1.4K likes. That's what I'm talking about. Let's hit 1.5. Wow. Right? And then what we're going to do is click this Enable API and Services. And I'm just going to enable all of them right now while we're here. Right? So, first thing I'm going to use is the Directions API.
That's alright,
so
the card.
This one right here. Directions between multiple locations. So I'm going to click this, and I'm going to go ahead and set this one right now. Okay? So I'm going to click on Enable. Okay?
With the fish also here.
Enable. So that worked pretty nice, right? So we've got the Directions API, and then we're going to go ahead and also use Places as well. Right? So we've got Directions API here, and I'm also going to do Places API. So we need to find we usually have the similar ones here. So Plated API, I'm going to click that as well. Make sure you're in your correct directory here as well. So we're going to enable that as well. Okay, and click enable here. Okay, awesome stuff. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Let that sort of do its thing. Now we've got our second API enabled. So we've got the directions API, places API for the autocomplete, and the final one is the distance matrix API, and that's for all the sort of, you know, calculations and all that stuff we need to do as well. So I'm going to click enable here as well, right? And now we've enabled all of the things. It gives you the pricings and everything, but you do get $200 free, which is huge for your quota, right? So now we've enabled all your 3 APIs. That's the first step. The second thing we need to do is we need to go over to our credentials tab. Now I'm going to click here and just double check there's nothing sensitive here. But you click into the credentials tab to get a key. And this key is really nice the way it works, right? So I'm going to show you my credentials tab. So we've got this. So you've got API keys. Now right now you have no key. But what you want to do is click create credential. And what's nice about Google Platform is you click on create API key over here. And it says creating an API key. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna delete that key after. Right? I'm gonna delete that right now anyway. But point is, you have an API key, right? You want to copy this at this point, and we're not gonna restrict it. Okay, so we're gonna click close, and then you have your key here, right? Now I'm gonna generate another key in a second, so that way that key's not exposed. But the point is, get that key, right? Copy it. Get that key and copy it. Okay. Now once you have your key, that's going to allow you to actually go ahead and access all of the different APIs that we have attached over here. Okay, so that's going to allow you to have all the different APIs sort of attached.
And we have our
princess. That's like our, you know, that unlocks access to everything. So what I would say at this point is go to your code, go to your sort of the app.js level and hit plus. And we need to store this key in something called an environment file. Now, by default, this is getting put into GitHub for some stupid reason. So you want to go ahead and add this to your GitHub ignore file, so that way it doesn't get committed. You want this to be private. You don't want to push this to GitHub. Okay? So you add this to the git ignore file. Now, once that's done, we're going to go ahead and actually add it over here. So inside of your environment file, what you want to do is have your something called Google Maps key equals, and then this should be your super secret key. So super secret key, right? Something like, you know, that's going to be the one that you copy and paste, right? You want to paste that here. Now I'm going to go ahead and pop mine inside of here, and then I'm going to hide it so that way it works for me. So I'm going to pop this on my screen right now, and there we go. So I've just added mine in, and then I'm going to close my environment file. So I've just done that exact thing, and you don't add the little air quotes, right? You just add the value in itself straight away. Okay, so now I've got my environment key working. Okay, so my environment keys inside my environment, but in order to use environment keys, these are very handy, by the way, because you can actually have a production environment key when you deploy a test development key and all that stuff. I'm not going to get too far into environment variables at this point, but what we're going to do is go ahead and check this out. So we're going to create, we have to actually load something called .nv, right? So it's actually a nice little package called React Native.env. Right, this allows us to use environment files inside of our application. So I'm going to do Command J, and I'm going to do the following: yarn add React Native.env. Okay, and it doesn't just magically work. Environment files are very easy to use in things like, you know, React and normal sort of create React app and Next.js. When using React Native, you need to do a little bit of configuration. It's not that hard, don't worry. All you need to do is go into your Babel or Babel, however, how do you guys say it? Babel.config. Frank Fernandez says, yo, Sonny, I'm late to the challenge, but I'm going to finish it for sure. Thank you for your contribution to the community. Appreciate you, Frank. Thanks for tuning in, dude. Nearly at 1.5k likes. Let's keep going strong, guys. Right. So, here we've got Babel config.js. So I'm going to go into my Babel config, and we need to add a few things over here. Okay. So where we have presets, we actually need to add something in called plugins. Right? There's actually going to be plugins, and it's going to be an array. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it in here and show you exactly, and I'll put it on the screen right now so you can see it. Right? So plugins is an array. We've got an inside array there, and then we've got this right here. So you can literally copy this out as you're doing it, right? And what this is doing is it loads in React Native.env so into that bundler right? Because what we need to do is we need to bundle those environment variables into our apps. That way, when it gets built, the environment variables are there to use. Remember, environment variables, they're for sensitive information, right? Easy to go in there, right? So at this point, you've got the module name, and this is actually pretty cool. This allows us to just kind of have, when we do an import, rather than having some really weird kind of from native.m, we can just say from.
Should go to AFK.
And it was kind of nice. And this is the path to the environment file. Okay? Hit save. Now what we might need to do, I don't know if that works straight out of the box, but we'll give it a go, right? So that's pretty much done now. Now it will load in, okay? So now this will load in. Okay, so at this point, we're going to go back and go to app.js. Okay, so it's looking pretty good. So at this point, what we're going to do is go over here and we're going to go ahead and continue on with the build. So we have our key and we're going to use that Google Places autocomplete to go ahead and get that nice functionality, right? So Google Places, where has it gone? I'm going to close my credentials tab because we've already done with that stuff. So the next thing that I want to do is inside of my home screen, I'm going to add in the React Native Google Places autocomplete functionality. So this was actually this one right here. Remember that gave us that nice little autocomplete, right? So we're back here. Let's carry on now. So I need to import this as follows, right? So to get this working, so I go into my home screen, import at the top, and we have Google Places autocomplete from there. Okay. Now, if I want my key, how do I get my key? I go ahead and I say import the Google Maps API key from that environment file. And that's what we used. We used Babel config to go ahead and set this up. So you see there's a lot of like kind of, you know, threading the needle in kind of in the right place to kind of get everything set up. But once it's working, it's pretty simple, right? So you just need to go ahead and take your time to get it right. Everyone should have a water break. I'm sipping today. The bladder kind of gives up on me a little bit. Redux gives you like global variables in that. Yes, that's a very good way of doing it, jackass. So, sorry, I didn't pronounce that right. All right. It's never too late in life to have a sunny adventure. There you go. All right, so import the key like so. And then what I want to do is I want to have the Google Places autocomplete, you know, component inside my app. So you see it takes a bunch of things here. The key itself, you know, all this other stuff, on press, what happens, blah, blah, blah. You know, do you want to fetch the details and all this other stuff? So I'm actually going to show you how we're going to get it to work in the way that we need to get it working, right? So underneath our image tag, above the nav options, I want to have that being rendered out, okay? So I'm going to say render Google Places autocomplete. It's a self-closing component and a few things are going to happen here, right? So the Places API that we're going to use is called Google Places, right? Search. You need to add that in. So Google Places search, and this allows us to search for the different places in Google's kind of directory, let's call it. And then the thing is, when I type into this input field, I don't want it to search on every single type.
It's closed,
so I'm going to use something called a debounce, so they can have a nice little functionality called debounce. Yep. And this means that imagine you're typing, only after you stop typing for 400 milliseconds will it execute a search. That's going to be a lot more generous. So you always want to have a debounce in these sort of circumstances. Okay, it looks pretty good. At this point, I'm going to have a placeholder as well. And this is going to say where from. Okay, hit save, probably going to error out at this point. So it says @env cannot be found in your project. Okay, so we already, you know, we set up Babel, but what we need to do is when we do that, we actually need to restart our sort of, you know, our compiler. So at this point, I'm going to do I to open on iOS. I think we may need to actually restart it properly. Let's see what happens. Unable to resolve the module. Okay, that's fine. So at this point, what we need to do is cut off our server, because whenever you add something at that level, you have to restart your server, right? Expo start, and then we're probably going to get Chrome eat us up right now. So brace yourselves, guys. Brace yourself. Right? It's so unforgiving, right? But it's gonna cause me to lag a little bit. Chrome. Oh god, my CPU just takes a hit when it opens. Right. So now it's gone ahead and loaded it up, and then when we've done that already, I'm going to do I to open on iOS. Don't worry, this will go away in a sec. If it doesn't, then we just need to set up a few more things and we just need to double check what's going on. Opening on iOS. Okay, and then I need to do R. So it says new update available downloading. So now it will rebuild the bundle because we added something into that bundle. Okay, so just bear with it. Do R to refresh. Okay, so I mean, we're still getting this issue. We need to actually do a little step here then. In that case, let's go ahead and check out what's happening. So let's do React native.env, and let's just go through this up again. I think I might have missed something. React native.env. We've done the install. We've added this in. We've done all of this stuff. That's fine. In safe mode, we've done that already. Okay, so in this case, whenever you have this issue, just go ahead and do a few little run-through steps. Do an npm install or a yarn to go ahead and make sure everything's up to scratch again. And in this case, yarn start reset cache. So this is a problem with our cache. Right, this is where we've kind of, there's something wrong with the cache, and it's causing this issue to happen. What I would recommend here is to go ahead and completely close your simulator, and let's go ahead and give that a try. And we'll figure it out, don't worry. So we'll open up the simulator as well. I'm going to do open new device, iOS, iPhone 12 Pro Max. And then we're going to reboot our phone.
Eine gut eingestellte Waffe
you can do these
kompensiert
steps, you can delete your node modules, run yarn install and all that stuff. It's going to take a while. I don't really want to do that every time. Just give it a sec. This is all because we made a big change to our barbell config, which is fine. We were prepared for that. We just need to quickly get over this issue, and then we're good to go. And I'm going to check my barbell config to make sure I made the correct changes. Okay. I'm going to copy in my config and see if there's any differences.
Old CRTs.
So I'm going to go ahead and check. Okay, we're good. Okay. To this point, we're going to go here, and I'm going to go ahead and say open on iOS, and we still get this issue. Okay, so not a problem. We can fix this. We're going to go ahead. This is what I like, you guys get into debugging situations with me. It's natural, it's normal. Okay, so Bible preset expo, React native.env. All good. Let's see if it still finds it. Okay, we still got this issue. So delete the node modules and run. Okay, so when this happens, there's a few things you can do, right? What I would say to do is try this one first. So you do rm-rf node modules. Okay, so node modules. And what this will do is it will delete all of your node modules in your directory, right? So this will actually get rid of all my node modules, which does like a full clean out, a full sweep, right? And then we need to reinstall our node modules. So that's going to take a minute, right? So we're going to give this a little bit of a second, and then we're going to go ahead and figure this one out. Okay, and then once we've done that, we can go ahead and come back and figure this one out again. So right now, this is deleting our node modules folder from our project. You just got to be patient with it. Okay, so the M file has to exist. We've already done this. That's fine. We've already done that as well. So it's annoying. Right now, we just have. Oh, oops! I already messed it up. Yeah, I actually messed that one up. Should have just done this. Should have done that. Yarn start or export. Damn it! That's the one I needed. Export R-C. Okay, that was a silly mistake of mine. But instead, we're going to do yarn to reinstall all of our node modules. This is a debugging step. Okay, it's okay to do it. Delete an environment file. No, you don't have to do that. That's not the solution for it. Alright, so we're just downloading our sort of environment files again. We need to start expo again, but with -C. That was it. So you get rid of your cache. Okay. Thankfully, node modules is super small. Yeah, Ryan. Oh yeah, it's so small, dude. That's why we're here for 23,761 files. Right. And trust me, guys, once this is done, we move pretty quick, right? So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set up the auto-complete. We've already set up Redux, which is actually, one of the big things that we need to do. Now it's going to be quite a smooth transition. The next step would be to go ahead and incorporate the maps, bunch of UI elements, and then we go ahead and pull data from different places, push it in the way that we need to get an Uber experience built out. So if you're excited for this, smash your thumbs up. We are nearly at 1.5k likes. Support and energy has been incredible. And while we're waiting, go ahead and sign up. First link in the description to the Airbnb challenge, and the second link is for if you need a refresher on your React basics. Okay, so make sure, take advantage of it. It's absolutely free, and I would not say it if I didn't mean it. Like, it's helped out a lot of people. It will help you out too. Okay, where is the fiber internet fundraiser? You know what it is? It's because of the house, right? We don't actually have bloody fiber here in this house. Otherwise I would have, gigabit speeds if I could, right? I'd pay however much they wanted for that.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, so we've got this up and running. We've got the .env file for this. Okay, cool. And then once that's done, I'm going to stop running my server right now. And this is one of those things, you know, don't freak out. Don't get scared when this isn't working. Just go ahead and take your time with it. It's very easy to, you know, when things don't work to be like, oh my god, I'm not a developer, freak out, and it's okay, it's all good. Anyway, in the meantime, let's go ahead and have a look at some things. Let's go ahead and look at React Native maps. This is what we're going to be using. So React Native maps, this one right here. And it's quite a nice little component, right? So we need to go ahead and install this afterwards. And then you can see you can pass in a bunch of things, and this will actually load out the different maps. Whether on iOS it would be Apple Maps, on Android it will be Google Maps. So here you go. Okay, Uber clone done, and we've already done. So now we go back here, and we need to do expo. And what was the command again? It was expo R-C, right? So let's do that. Expo R-C, right? And this is kind of restarting expo, I guess. Okay, so it's going to start up expo with 0 cache. So this should fix our caching issues, which should force the environment file to load. We should fix our issue. Okay, it works on my local as well, which is a bit annoying, so it's all good. We'll figure this one out. All right, Manish says my first session works, loving it, thank you. Oh god, Chrome, brace yourselves. Right, I think there should be a meme on this. Every time Chrome comes in, the attack on the computer. Right, there we go. Nice. So at this point, we've got this up and running. I'm going to do I to open it on iOS. Ignore this for now. This is a dead screen. This is load. Okay. And it says opening on iOS. Opening on iPhone 12 on Max. And then if all went well, then you've just seen a live debugging fix what we were doing. I hope it does, because otherwise it's going to be super annoying. Evan says, keep on, you got this. Exactly, dude. I don't know why I said that in American accent. I just got like an American vibe off that. New update available, downloading. Okay. Interesting. Building JavaScript bundle. Okay, we're getting progress. All right, and it's building out the bundle. Okay, so let's do let it do its thing. And in the meantime, we've got React Native maps over here. So, like I said before, we're going to be setting this up. And you can even have markers on this. That's how we do like point A, point B, and all of that stuff happening, right? Game Alex says, first live session, love it. That's what I'm talking about. Amazing stuff. PS says, nice code. That's what I'm talking about, dude. That's what we try and keep the standards quite high here. So it's building out the bundle, and yeah, let's just be patient with it. As I mentioned before, guys, we've done all the heavy lifting at this point, so now it's actually quite a smooth build process, believe it or not. We've got quite a lot of like interactivity, a lot of kind of, you know, cool things to look forward to right now. We're going to be building the sort of auto-complete functionality. Then we're going to be having destinations, so how do we get from point A to point B? Right, and we're going to do all of this fairly quick, I think. Right, it's going to be pretty fun once we get moving with this. And then once that's done, we're actually going to have, you know, the calculating the travel time and then passing all that information, rendering it on the screen. And I've got a nice little calculation to figure out how much your ride should cost. Okay, so 98% done. Let's see how this works out. Yeah, Jacob Fry, we're using Tailwind, dude. Awesome. Okay, nice. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Ah, the demo goes to being nice to me today. It's not bad. Lian DP says, let's go, Sonny. You're a real inspiration. Thanks for all you do. I appreciate you, dude. Thank you so much for tuning in. Almost at 1.5k likes. Let's go, guys. And if you haven't already, remember, subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up. It helps the channel grow. And hit the first link in the description. Sign up to the Airbnb challenge. It's going to be sick. It's going to be this level of energy for 5 days straight with me. And I've got an ebook that I'm giving you for free just for being a part of the team. All right. Okay, we've done this crazy environment, right? So now we've got the environment navigation stuff working. Cool. So now we're going to carry on with that autocomplete stuff, right? So we went ahead and opted Google Places for autocomplete. So right now it's not showing, right? So obviously we need to go ahead and fix that. So what I'm going to have instead is on the home screen, we've got some styles that we need to apply. Right? So we're actually going to do some inline styling here. Again, it's no rule, right? You can use other styles. You want to do class, make it for a class if you want. I'm going to add a container style here. And the reason is because the classes that they have, you can override them. Right? So the part that I want to override here is flex 0. And you just need to do these to get it on the screen, right? Trust me, I've tried it a lot. I've done a few things, right? So it works. And then you can see text input. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And you see how it comes up. And you say font size is 18. I want to make it slightly bigger. There we go. Okay. So right now, if I type in, nothing's really happening. Okay, so the reason why is because we haven't passed our key through. It has no idea how to query Google. So in this case, I'm going to add a query attribute. And here I'm going to pass an object in. Now for the key, I'm going to pass the Google Places key. Okay, so Google Maps API key. There we go. Import my Google Maps API key. And what I'm going to do is comma. And this one I'm going to say language is EN for English. Right? And obviously you can do different languages or translation to the app. Pedro says you're my hero. Amazing stuff, dude. Thank you so much. Right? So I'm going to hit save. Okay. Now at this point, right, we should actually have, even if I type in, let's just type in London. Ooh, that's sick. 1.5k likes as well. Clutch timing, I tell you, man. Honestly, that's so sick. Look at that, guys. We just got our first kind of, you know, interactivity element where you've got, you know, like if I type in, let's just say Germany. Boom! Opens up Germany, which means you get some Texas stuff happening as well. Germany, let's just have let's say Scotland. There you go. Scotland, Road, Liverpool. Okay, you got loads of different places. Point is, it works. Right? It looks sick. Works, and it works just as I wanted it. So at this point, I'm going to do the minimum length should be 2. So you should add 2 different things. Because, you know, you might have UK. I don't know. Or you might have that. Right? And then you see right now it says powered by Google. I don't actually want it to say powered by Google, so I can get rid of that. I can say enable powered by container is false. And now it gets rid of the enable by, right? So that way it kind of, you know, white brands it, I guess. Right? So that kind of makes it a little bit nicer. Guys, you're killing it today. Absolute crazy energy. Okay. So at this point, enable powered by container is out. And then, by the way, you know when I kind of press this, okay, we actually do fetch some information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say on press, and what this gives me back is an arrow function, right? And then it gives me a few details with it. The first one is data. The second one is details. Now we need to protect ourselves here and say that details is by default no, unless we say fetch details, which we are going to do here. The details include things like, you know, geometry locations. This includes things like the coordinates. Now the coordinates are crucial because I'm going to be storing those coordinates, rendering it on a map afterwards. And again, where do we dispatch an action, which goes into the data layer, aka Redux, and then we use a selector, which we set up earlier as well, to pull the information from the data layer, aka Redux, use it in the component. Okay. So looks sick. We've got the here happening. So now what I'm going to do is just to prove to you that we get some stuff back. I'm going to console log data, and I'm going to console log details. And now if I click save and I open up Command J, and I go ahead and just go, let's just pop in something like London Bridge, click it, and now you can see, look, we get a console log, and you see all of these things, like one of the best places in the world, a beautiful bridge at River Thames. So this all comes from the details API that comes back from Google, right? Now if we go all the way back up, you should see the first thing that we got logged out was data. So we get a bunch of information here, right? Now if you look into this, you can see there's loads of things. I've saved you a bunch of this effort, and I'll tell you what to get out of here. But there's loads of things that we might want. Example, geometry, location, longitude, latitude. So that's what we're actually going to be using to kind of get what we want out of this, right? So let's go ahead and get this done. Mohammed says, keep going. That's what I'm talking about. It's a good way of learning React Native. Yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about. So, okay. We've got the information coming through from an API now, right? This is coming from Google Places API. Now, what we want to do is, I'm also going to add this a little bit. It's kind of this nice little functionality where if you enter the return key, you go ahead and get the search. Right, so I'm going to do that as well. So if you hit the return key on the keyboard, and by the way, if you want to bring up the keyboard, Command K brings up a keyboard sort of on the emulator. Right, it helps you sort of figure things out. Okay, so when we press the when we press the option, like, you know, London Bridge, whatever, I want to now set the origin to the location that I press. Okay? So we already went and set up the data layer when we first started. When we first started the data layer. So what I'm actually going to do here is get a few things to actually push information into the data. So in order to do that, I need something called a dispatch action, or a dispatch or variable. Now the dispatch is, remember, we have actions which allow us to like change the data in the data layer, but we need to dispatch the action. So to me, the way I like to think of it is dispatch the action, shoot the action into the data layer with the payload which has the information that we want to change, you know, or manipulate in the data layer. In this case, to get the dispatch, we say const dispatch equals new dispatch. And then we do that. Okay. So that gives us our dispatch variable. And then with the dispatch variable, we can go ahead and we also need to import something. Actually, I'm going to import the set destination and set origin action from our nav. This is actually going to be for us to get this working the way we need it. Okay. These sessions are much better than anything else. That's my goal, dude. I'm not a fan of Udemy. I prefer to do this kind of teaching. Okay. So at this point, the way we sort of push data into the Redux store is we say dispatch, and then we push the action in. So this is set origin and the payload. So in this case, you can see it's action creator with payload, right? So we pass the parentheses, and the argument that we give in is an object. And the object here, we can define however we want, right? So I'm going to store two things inside of this object for the origin: the location. And the location is going to be a set of, there's going to be some information from the API response, so that long API response, geometry.location, right? So what I'm actually going to do is it's going to be details.geometry.location. And what this will do is it will give me an object with the latitude and longitude, and we're going to store that inside of the Redux store. So that way, when I'm down the line and I go ahead and use, Joan Pablo, thank you so much. Whenever I go ahead and access it down the line in a different component, on the map component, I have access to it. Okay, so here I'm going to say description is the second one, and this is going to be like some text, which kind of helps me show on the screen, or whatever it is, where I'm searching. Right. So in this case, if I type in London, UK, I want to store that somewhere, aka the description. So here I'll say data.description. Okay, so this is the information that I want to keep from the response. The second thing I want to do is I want to make sure that the destination is null. Okay, so by default it is null, but imagine if I go back and forth between the screens. I just want to make sure that I dispatch and I say set destination as null. Okay, so set destination as null. Okay, this is looking pretty good right now. Okay, so we're going to set the origin, set the destination at this point. So we test it. All right, so we make sure it's refreshed. We do London, UK. Yeah, right. Okay, so nav set origin is not a function. Okay, interesting. So we've actually messed something up here. We do dispatch set origin, and it says nav slice is not a function. Okay, so we need to fix something here. We've got set origin, set destination, and I'm importing this from here. Slice is nav slice, and in nav slice, let's go over to nav slice. Let's just double check. Set origin is a function from our reducer that we are going ahead and exporting. I'm just going to double check that I've actually coded this up right, by the way. So there we go. Let me just double check what changed there. Nothing changed, did it? No? Okay, we're all good. If I go ahead and do this, let me go back. Let's just try this out one more time. Let's do London Bridge. Okay, so it was just a refresh that we needed to do. Everything was actually pretty good as we saw it. So let's go back to our. Sometimes in React Native, it can be a bit kind of, it can be a bit weird, to be honest, in React Native. So I'd recommend sometimes just do a proper refresh, do a reload of your app, and see if the problem still exists. Now, if I click get a ride, okay. So this is now actually storing in Redux, right? So if I do London, UK, it's actually storing the information in Redux. The next thing I need to do, right, is actually on the get a ride screen is render out a map. So if you're excited for the map start part, smash the like button, subscribe as always, and sign up to the Airbnb challenge, first link in the description. And we're going to go ahead and set up the map now, okay? So we're going to go over to the map screen. So we've already got the origin information set up as we needed it. So the second step is the map screen, okay? This is where the map goes, basically, right? So for the map screen, a few different things. We're actually going to have, we have a view, and then we have an actual map. Okay, so you see when we render this map, it's going to be half the screen. So this is going to be half the screen over here, and then the other portion where we've got all the details is going to be another view. So what I'm actually going to do to prepare everything here is I'm going to have two views. I'm going to have one view, and I can use Emmet here. I can say view, and I'm going to have another view. These are like two divs. Now for each view, I'm going to give it a tailwind property of basically, it's going to say height of 1/2. So we'll take up the 1/2 of the screen each. Tailwind, we're going to say height of half of the screen. And this will give each of them an equal distribution across the screen. If you need to import tailwind, do that, my bad. Don't hate on me, so save. Okay. And then, also, yeah, happy Friday everyone. Yes, I hope you had a good weekend. So now we've got this. And then let's just load up that screen, so get a ride. Okay, on the screen. And then you can do safe area view, but we're not going to need it because I actually want the map to push into the dangerous area, so that's why I don't want to have a safe area view. And then for the map, let's start with the map, right? So I'm going to create an actual component for the map, so we've got all the logic separate. So there's a map.js, RNFES, React Native Export, start sheet. Okay? And here I say I am a map. Okay, whoa! Andy B, super chat, $2 donation. Thank you so much, man. Man, delivering wish luck at my interview. Dude, good luck at that interview. I love when you comment. Always delivers. That's awesome, dude. Thank you so much for tuning in and good luck, man. Jonas says greetings from Kenya. Awesome. That was from Kenya. Okay, so this is pretty cool. We've got this button. So map. So on the map screen, I'm gonna have in the first view, I'm gonna render out the map. Right? And then here I'm going to go ahead and render the component for the map. So we do this, and you can see I am a map. It's hidden up there. Let's get rid of the yes, I'm a map text. Okay, there's a map. Right? So it says I'm a map over there. So how do we actually get this thing looking kind of nice, right? So what I want to do now is have a map view, and that comes from React Native. Now I showed you before previously how to get that kind of up. So let's go ahead and see where it's on. Yeah, so React Native maps. Right? So it's a GitHub repo, awesome repo, and let's go ahead and import this, install it firstly. So we're going to go ahead and do yarn add React Native maps. Right? So when it doesn't tell you, you just do that. Install that. So yarn add React Native maps, like so. Hit enter. And then once that's done, we're going to go ahead and import map view from React Native maps. Let me know, what's your favorite part of the build right now? Import map view from React Native maps. Let me know. And quick water break as well. It's getting dry, dude. Nearly at 1,600 likes. And guys, we're almost at 70,000 subscribers. That is insane. Right, do this. Codex Path says, I've been following you from the first to-do list. Oh, nice. Learn a lot, but I'm working full-time at tech stop in Nigeria with a juicy bit. That's sick, man. Well done. Okay, we installed the React Native maps. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is actually have the map view rendered on the screen. So, I mean, let's go ahead and copy this example here and just see what comes out, right? And then that way you get some indicator of what's actually on the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and simply pop on the actual map view as our entire component. So map view, cannot render map view. Where the hell is it? Is basically what it's saying to me. I'm going to import that and the marker because eventually I want to have that little dot, like pin that kind of drops on the screen. So hit save. Let's go over here. And we don't see anything. Now, the reason why we don't see anything is because we need to give it a bit of style, right? So we need to go ahead and say style equals, and I'm just going to give it a tailwind style of flex 1. So it's going to use up as much room as it can, flex 1, and it's already in a half container, which means it should use up half the screen. I always forget to import my tailwind, but let's fix that right now. Right. Let's go over here, chuck it down here, save, get a ride, boom! San Francisco, baby. Look at that. Sick. That looks awesome, man. Look at that. Look at that. Ah, smash the thumbs up if that's cool. Right. So at this point, this is looking kind of nice, right? And we're gonna have now sort of. So you can imagine where we're going with this. Eventually, the origin will get pulled through here, and show that stuff out. I'll show you how it all works. Okay. So what we're gonna do now is I want to actually have it so that when you click get a ride, it shows my origin. That's the first thing, right? So imagine if I have London, UK, click get a ride, it should show London here. All right, Ricardo Oliveira, thank you so much for a €5 donation. You're doing a great job, bro. I'm really grateful for everything I've learned from you. Best regards from Portugal. I love how we're international. Thank you, dude. Appreciate you so much for that donation. You know, guys, I'm gonna have a nice sushi tonight, I'm telling you. But thank you so much, guys. Really, really appreciate it. This makes me honestly keep bringing more and more value, so I really do respect you guys for doing this. right? Now, right now it's very busy, the map. It's got loads of different things which aren't really useful when we're kind of, you know, having navigation. So you can change an attribute called map pad to muted standard. And you see how it strips the map down? I personally think that's way more better when you're doing this because it's, you know, when you've got navigation, all you want to see is the actual navigation. So that would be my advice here, right? So, so we've got the style, we've done the, okay, nice. So the next thing we want to do now is actually have let's have the location pop up here. So how do I pull in my, remember, if I pushed information into the data layer, how do I pull it? Right, so first thing I'm going to do is say const origin equals use selector, which is how I pull something from the selector. Remember we created all those selectors in the nav slice at the bottom, right? So I'm going to close that, nav slice select origin. So I'm going to use that here and say use selector select origin. And what that does is that in essence is actually going to go ahead and go into the state nav and give me the origin. So whatever the value of the origin is in the global store, it'll give me that. And that will get pulled through here. Now remember that was an object that I set it to. So for the initial region here, I'm actually going to do something pretty cool. I'm going to say origin dot location dot latitude. Okay. And here I'll say origin dot location dot long. Okay, hit save. Now it should. Okay, there you go. It's London now, right? Now for the delta and longitude delta, this can be extremely confusing when you're starting off, right? So I'm not going to go too much into what a delta is, but for now, I've actually implemented a very nice way. So typically we set this to this if we want to have, you know, a street level kind of distance, right? Now this is the only time you're going to have to modify that value, and then afterwards, I promise you it'll be easier. Okay, so I'll show you a different little trick to get around the delta. You don't want to have to calculate your deltas. It's annoying, it's a headache. What the hell is even a delta? Took me ages to figure out. But I've got a nice little solution around that will help you out, and it'll fix so much headache and time for you. Okay, so right now if I go back and I type in, let's just type in Scotland. Okay, Scotland, UK, get a ride. And now you see it's taking me to Scotland, I guess. Where is this? Let's type in something like LA. Let's do Los Angeles, California, USA, get a ride. Los Angeles. So we're somewhere in LA right now. See that? Nice. Awesome. And let's actually do somewhere a bit more kind of, you know, identifiable. So let's do London Bridge. UK, get a ride. London Bridge. Nice. That's awesome, right? Whoa, Beto Cruzada. Super chat, 20 Mexican dollars. Keep up the good work, bro. Greetings from Mexico. I love this, guys. Thank you so much. This is just crazy. Honestly, I can't get over it. Thank you so much, guys. Nearly at 1.6k likes. Let's continue on. So the first thing I want to do is actually drop a marker as well on that bridge, right? So what I'm going to do here is underneath the map view, I'm actually going to firstly make the map view no longer a self-contained component. So it's actually going to have children. So I'm going to make it a actual parent component. And then inside the map view, we can put other things, like for example, a marker. Now I only want to render this little kind of pin if the origin is there. Okay. So at this point what I want to do is I want to say origin, and this may be undefined, so I want to protect myself by saying it's optional, which means that it could be there, but if it's not there, don't freak out, don't break, basically. It's called optional chaining. And now I'll say if we have the origin location, then I'm going to render out a marker component. So I'm going to render out a marker. And we did import that earlier on. This is a self-enclosed component. And this marker, what I want to do is I want to give it a coordinate.
What we have here.
The coordinate for this marker is going to be the latitude and longitude from the origin. So very similar to what we did earlier. Okay, and there you can see we get a little pin drop. Right, awesome stuff. And also if you want to look at that, look around, you can hold option and kind of zoom in around. And this does actually support zooming in and out of your app as well, which is awesome. Right, so you see we got a little pin drop. Now what I can do is I can give it a title, description and identifier. Right, so what I'm actually going to do here is pop in a title, description and an identifier, hit save. And now if I click it, origin London Bridge, London UK. So you can say like your starting point, you can change that to whatever you want. Right? Live location I didn't include because I didn't want to have my live location pop up, but you can easily kind of implement that if you follow the location. But yeah. So this gives you a very nice starting point. So say we did something like, give me a location, guys. Let's do something like Facebook. headquarters, Facebook, I don't know, headquarters, yeah, Facebook, I don't know, G.Skill, somewhere. Yeah, look, so it's got some kind of, I guess, Facebook slash, I guess, right? There was, right? So at this point, what we're going to do is everything in there. Right, so I want to actually kind of hide these options, by the way, as well, if you don't enter the origin. So how do we do that as well? So I'm going to go to my nav options, and I'm actually just going to upgrade this a little bit. That way, if you had, you know, if you haven't filled out your details there, it's not going to be clickable, because we don't want to go to the map screen if you haven't got an origin. So the way that I do that is I say touchable opacity is disabled if there is no origin. And because we can't access origin, I need to pull the origin in with selector. So I push origin and use the selector from selecting the origin. Right, so that's how you always pull it in. Once you get used to that pattern, relatively simple. Now it looks the same, right? So the way that you get it to look a bit different is you can go ahead and say for the view, I'm actually going to keep this one pretty simple. I'm going to say the style of the view here, so the container that you see over there. This view style is going to be tailwind. So I'm going to pop into tailwind. Yes, I did. And I'm going to say, okay, only actually apply this tailwind, so I'm going to put in a, you know, giant distance. So I'm going to say, if there is no origin, then I want to render out opacity 20. Right, so now if you see, if there's no origin, then we should be rendering out blah blah blah. Okay, so if let's just go restore, so we go back in, do R to refresh our app, and let's see now. Okay, there we go. So now it's only gonna, you know, show me something if I go ahead and pop in an orange. So as soon as I hit London, then it becomes a clickable button. Then I can click it. Then I get London. So that's how we can pretty much go ahead and do it. Right? So that's gonna help you out a hell of a lot. Oh wow, you got loads of people. Rotterdam Way, Merlo Park, Warsaw. Now I'll tell you what, I'll do something. Let me go ahead and pick one Hacker Way. It's going to be one Hacker Way.
Wer so nett nach einem Arschtritt.
One. Oh, look, Menlo Park. And wait for it. There we go. Facebook's building. Look at that, guys. I hope smash that thumbs up. That works. Yeah. So all the timestamp, by the way, will be in the description of the video as well. We check it on there straight away afterwards, so within, you know, a couple of hours it'll be up. Free access to the video. It's gonna help you out a lot. Okay, so at this point it's looking very good. So now we need to implement the bottom section. Okay, so we're gonna go back over to our map screen, and we need to go ahead and continue on with the rest of this. So let's actually head over to our map firstly and see if we need to do anything else over there for now. So I'm going to hide that. Okay, right. Now, over on the map screen, right now, I think we're pretty good so far. Okay, we're pretty good with this one so far. We need to build the bottom section now. So going back to map screen, the second view, so the second half. You see where I went half?
Oh, gosh.
Map screen. Okay. So for the map screen, this one's kind of cool. Right? So you know how we have a stack navigator here? You can actually have a nested stack navigator, which could be the size of this area here, which can have its own sort of swipeable stack. Remember, as I mentioned before, swipables pretty much be, you know, you can stack forward, back, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, this should help you out.
I have a set problem.
So at this point, oh, nice camera now. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the bottom. So I'm actually going to create a new stack navigator. So for the map screen, I'm actually going to do constant stack equals create stack navigator. This will be an index of, I guess it's a lower level stack navigator, right? So we've got the main one in Aptos there. We have this stack navigator, so similar principle. And now we have one in our map screen. And what we're going to do is this is going to live inside of here. So stack navigator. Right, so we're going to have a stack navigator, and then we're going to have two screens that we're going to render. The first one is going to be the navigate card, and this is going to say where do you want to go to. Right? And then basically when you click, you know, you enter your options, blah blah blah, it will go to the next screen, which will say ride options, and that's going to be the one in Uber X, Uber XL, Uber Lux, all those things. Okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and do stack screen. We're going to do stack screen, and we've got navigate card, and navigate card component, which I don't have at the moment. So I'm going to create a navigate card component to prepare later on. So navigate card.js, React Native functional exported component with style sheet, and say yo, and then hit save. Go back to
yeah, it was cool. It was really awesome.
And import the navigate card component. So to import that, I just need to do the following. So I don't actually need that there. We'll say import from, and it's not going to be the map. It's going to be navigate card. There we go. Okay. And now we see yo. Right, so you see here we got yo. Nice. We're going to have another screen, which is going to be for ride options card, and that's going to be the one where we pick the ride, you know, like UberX, Uber XL, Uber Lux, and all that stuff. So I'm going to go to my ride options card component over here, which I'm going to create .js, and again React Native functional exported with the style sheet. There we go, and we'll say pick a ride. Right? Okay, awesome. So at this point, it may not be clear as to, okay, how the hell is it actually doing anything or working, right? So first thing, we need to fix this and have an import for the ride option. So I'm going to go here and do ride options card. Save. And then you see if you go to, let's just say London, UK, get a ride, London, yo. And now we can actually have a navigate, and the navigate here would go through to the next area on this screen. Okay, so at this point, what we're gonna do is, nice. What's up, guys? We got so many new people tuning in. Make sure you hit subscribe if you're enjoying this content. It's gonna absolutely be coming more and more often. Literally 1 like away from 1.6 likes. Who's gonna break it? I wonder who's gonna break it. Oh, there we go. 1.6. Actually went straight to 1.6, 1601. But thank you so much, guys. That's so sick. Absolutely crushing it today. Oh wow, make sure you're subscribed, right? If you're not subscribed and you're one of those likers, please just hit the subscribe, grow the channel, right? It's such an amazing vibe from you guys, right? So what we're going to do now is build out the actual navigate card, okay? So the navigate card, we're actually going to go ahead and set a few things up here. So firstly, I want it to be the safe area view, because what can happen here is, you see underneath here, you don't want it to go into this dangerous area as well. You kind of want it to be above that at all times. So you don't want to kind of break that zone. So here I'm going to do safe area view, and I need to go ahead and import my safe area view like so. And you see it doesn't look much different here because it's not touching the bottom, but it will prevent it from damaging the bottom, okay? Now this is actually a grey background, so we're going to go ahead and change that, right? And yeah, so let's go ahead and check this out. Thank you so much, Frank. He says, I really wish the best for your channel. It's really valuable. Thank you again, man. Thank you so much, dude, for tuning in. It's people like you that make this possible, so I appreciate every single one of you. Right, so we're going to add a style here, and this style is going to have a background color of white. So you can do it 2 ways, right? You can do background color of white and all that stuff. So I'll show you. Usually you could do tailwind, and you can do flex 1 BG white, right? So in fact, we could just do that. Let's just do that. Let's go ahead and pop this here. Tailwind. Let's go ahead and pop it here. Tailwind dash dash. And we can say BG white. Oops, BG white flex 1. Now you can see it's white all the way. If I do BG red 500, you see it's that bottom half, right? So we're going to do BG white flex 1. So it should take up as much room as it can. The second thing I want to do is I want to say good morning, Sonny, right? So you know, like on Uber it says good morning. Now obviously we're not got login and things like that in our app right now, but you can upgrade this app after you're done. You know, share it on your stories. By the way, if you're watching this and you are enjoying it, make sure you shoot an Instagram story and say I was watching, and you know everything else. My Instagram handle is on the bottom. It's SSSSSanga. Right, so you see it right there on the Instagram tag. But make sure you do that, because I love it when you guys, you know, shout out and see. I can see you guys who is actually watching behind this video. It's awesome to see. We're gonna have good morning, Sunny here, and I'm gonna say, you know, and you can have your name there to make it cool for you. Text center. I want to center the text, so you see it gets centered. Padding from the Y, so top and bottom, of 5, and the text should be extra large. So the text should be XL. There you go. Looks really nice already, right? Carter says we should code. The code is available on the public GitHub repo. I'm going to be pushing it straight after this, so it's all available over there. If you want it, make sure you grab it. The next thing we're going to do is add a view. Now this view is going to be responsible for a few things. We're going to have a Google Places autocomplete here as well, similar to the one that we had at the top over there. And that's actually going to say where to, and that's going to be setting the destination. So very similar to previously. Okay. So what I'm actually going to do now is for that view, I'm going to style it accordingly. So I'm going to add a bunch of styles in here. So let's go ahead and do style. I'm going to add a border top, border gray 200. So it's a border top for the view underneath. Gray 200 flex shrink, so it should be able to shrink as it needs to, and I'll show you why we need that later. Okay. So inside of this view, we're going to have another view which has Google Places autocomplete inside of it. Okay. So inside of here, I'm going to actually put in the Google Places autocomplete. So I need to import a few things to get ready for this. I need the Google Places autocomplete, and I need Google Maps API key from our environment variable. Okay. So let's go ahead and hit save on that. And then inside of here, we're going to do the same thing as we rendered before. Google Places or complete component, like so. Self-closing component, and let's go pop that in. And let's go ahead and start putting things in. So we're going to say placeholder equals where to. Right, so it's very similar to user's experience. You see where to, right? The actual sort of, let's go ahead and check this out. The actual, wow, the lights are still going up. This is sick. Oh, good. Right. So we're going to do the same thing. We have to specify which API, and we're also going to give a debounce of 400. Now, if you don't remember what the debounce does, it means as you're typing in, you don't want to
again the takeaway
on every single one. You want it to be after 400 milliseconds of the user stop typing that it does it. What is happening? Oscar Bonelli, 50 Mexican dollar donation. I think it's pesos, right? I'm not sure. Thanks, Sonny, for your tutorials. It has helped us a lot to improve our React Native and React.js portfolios. So that's sick, man. Thank you so much, dude. Appreciate you. All right. So we've got this. That's awesome, man. Thank you so much, dude. So for the styles here, I'm going to show you how you can have, you know, like I showed you before, you can have tailwind styles, or you can have, you know, your own styles and this and that. So in this case, I'm going to show you how we can have, in this case, we're just going to say input. Let's say the two input box styles. So this is going to be the two sort of styles. Then we'll show you how we can do it in here as well. Right, so for the container override, remember these have certain overriding fields that we can override. So the Google Places one. For the container, I'm going to do background color white, padding top 20, and a flex of 0. So hit save on that. You can see that it's very hard to tell because the background is already white. And there's two more fields, text input and text input container. So if I do these, oh, it's not even being applied right now, because firstly what I'm doing is I'm changing the background color to a slight kind of gray, border radius 0, font 18, and then a bit of padding around the container. So I'm going to connect this here by saying, all I need to do is to say styles, styles equals, there you go. So I've shown you inline styles, I've shown you style sheet styles, and I've showed you tailwind styles, right? So you've got all, you know, all the different ones as well. So I think that should help you guys out quite a lot in terms of, you know, that way you can use your flexibility and creative knowledge as to how you want to use them. Okay, let's keep going. Right, so styles is two input box styles, awesome stuff. And then we've got the debounce. So now I'm going to also add in the fetch details when we want to fetch the additional details as well. I'm going to disable the powered by container. So let's just test it out. Let's do London. And right now we don't see any results. And that's because we don't have the query. Remember the query? The query is where we put in our key and where we say what language we're going to do. So Google Maps key goes in here. And now let's try it. Let's do London. Boom. Now it has a key to go ahead and query your Google API. So this hopefully this should be fun for you, right? Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is have a return key, which has a link to the return key. Is going to also have a search. Oh, that scared me. That scared me for a second. The connection dipped. Oh. Alright, we're good. We're good. Connection dipped for a second. We're all good. Let me know if your stream's still good, and I think we're all okay. Right. But right now, what we're going to do is we've got on press. Okay. Double check. Alright, we're good. Yeah. It scares me so much. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to say on press, and we're going to say we've got a JSX function. We're going to say arrow function, sorry. And this gives us two things, remember? It gives us the data and details. And I'm going to say data and, data. So there's going to be data and details. And remember, we need to protect ourselves by saying the default value is null. Okay, So that looks pretty good. And now what we're going to do is, remember, we set the origin, this first way, but we're also going to go ahead and do the, someone said I paid you $1,000. Whoa, really? Where? Crazy, dude. On press. So at this point, I'm going to say dispatch and then set the destination, right? So we did it with the origin. I'm going to do the same thing for this. But in order to do that, I first need my dispatcher. So I say const dispatch, dispatch equals use dispatch, import it from a React Redux. It's a hook that gives us the dispatch object. And then I'm also going to import my set destination action from our navigation slice. So set destination like so. And then what we do is we say dispatch the set destination with the payload that is something like the following. So remember, before we did the location and the description. Location and the description. Okay, so it looks really nice at this point, location and description. And guys, the retention, by the way, is incredible. I want to thank you all for still being here. It's insane, right? Now, after I do that, I do want to navigate, right? So I want to navigate them to the next screen, right? So at this point, after that, I need to go ahead and get my navigation, like sort of item. So I say navigation equals use navigation. Import it from that navigation.
Here again.
After we actually select something, because the natural behavior is you basically put in a, an address here, and then when you hit like an item here, it should navigate you to pick a ride, right? So here I should say something like navigation.navigate, and the route name we gave it earlier was ride options card. Okay, and it's saying whoa, where is navigation? So that's because we need to go ahead and do that. No, wait, what's happening? So we've got a dispatch, and this right now is, oh yeah, my bad, that's why. Okay, so now let's try it. Let's do something like we go from London to, let's just say Scotland, and then wait for it, something's not working for me. Scotland. Okay, so I'm going to refresh my app again. Don't freak out, just do a refresh. Oh, request timeout. Oops. Okay. So hopefully I didn't kill my quota. London. Let's just do something like Scotland. Oops, Scotland. UK. Okay, there you see it. It went ahead, pushed the destination into the Redux store, and then it pushed us over here. Now, if we want to go back, you see how we can do that. Let's swipe back. Nice. So now we have the destination working, right? So this is actually incredibly powerful. We're moving very fast because we've now got quite a lot of power to the app. So now that we have a destination, we can actually upgrade our map. So we go back to the map component now. Okay. So once we're over at the map component, now what I can do is I'm going to introduce the actual directions API, right? So this is actually going to be the directions part of the build. And the way we do directions is actually pretty slick, okay? So I'm actually going to include a React Native dependency here. So we're going to go ahead and install a dependency called yarn add. It's going to be React Native maps directions. Enter. Okay, so what this does is it sits inside of our map view component, just like a marker does, but it provides us with, point A to B directions, which is awesome. Right? So what I can do now is I can firstly go ahead and grab we grab our origin here, but I'm actually going to grab a destination as well from the store. So I'm going to say use a selector, select destination. We're going to import that as well. So now we've got our origin and our destination. And what I'm going to say is, if we have both the origin and the destination, then I want to render out the direction. So I'm going to say, if I have my origin and I have my directions, destination. Oops. And I have my destination, right? Then what I can do is I can go ahead and say, let's render out the map view directions component, which we need to import. Okay, so once you've installed that package,
let's go.
To go to the top and install it. Import like so, and then we go ahead and pop it in like so. This is a self-closed component. It just takes a bunch of attributes to work. And in order to get it to work, what we do is we go ahead and, oh my god, I almost said, 1.7k likes, let's go. Right? So at this point we're going to get the origin and destination. So I say origin is equal to the origin.description. So this actually takes some text, so that will do that. We say the destination is equal to destination.description, and that was actually the text, remember, when we set it in the store. The API key we passed through, and this is actually going to be the Google Maps API key, so that is actually put in from our environment variables. So we go ahead and pop that in. So you see how it's quite nice how it forms afterwards, right? So we do that, we say Google Maps API key, there we go. And then we're also going to go ahead and say, we've given it the key, we've given it the origin destination, and then they've got these two nice, configuration things, which are more for the appearance. So stroke width and stroke color. So one is going to be, for the width, and the color is black. Uber has black lines around it, right? So if I go ahead and hit save, wait for it. Oh, look, it's directions. There's lots of directions right now. Okay, right now I need to figure that one out, so I'm trying to do something. But we can go ahead and now it's got a direction here, right? So it's doing some kind of directing for us. If we went from rather than Scotland, let's just say we went to, let's say London Bridge. And then you can see, look, it goes around the roundabout, down the road, and then up here, all the way over to, it's going to go to London Bridge, and then it goes to London Bridge, right? Nice. So we've got some directions working now.
What's he doing?
Right, so we've got to solve a few problems. One is we want the map to zoom out at the point at which we have a second. So when we have a destination, I want it to zoom out and go over to the point where we have I want to zoom out and go to the point where we have the A and B both in the map view. So to get that working, I've actually figured out a really nice way, right? So what we need to do is we need a reference to the map, so that way I can manipulate this map. So how do I do that? Well, we're going to use the useRef hook. The useRef hook is like a massive pointer. It points at something. It can point at anything. So we're going to have a reference to the map, so that way I can attack the map or change things with the map whenever I need to. Say const map reference equals useRef, which is a nice little reference hook in React, and we initialize it with the value of no to begin with. We attach it to the map view. So all this is doing now is it's saying point towards the map. So we're attaching it to this component. Now, this is the cool part. Okay, so this is the part where you've got to pay attention. We are going to have a use effect. Now, a use effect I cover in the React Basics 101. Again, the second link in the description, you can cover all your, the React Basics, use effects, what the heck is that, use state, use props. Quick little breakdown of use effect. This bit of code runs when the app or component re-renders. It runs once if I include these dependency brackets, but in this case I want this to rerun whenever the origin or destination changes. So this is the dependency array. So this bit of code that I'm going to have here is dependent on origin destination. If it changes at any time, it's going to rerun this code. Okay, so firstly I'm going to say if there is no origin or there is no destination, I don't want to run this code, right? So I'm going to kind of exit this block right here. So we can protect ourselves by saying if there's not that, you just immediately return, don't carry on, okay? But, I snuffed out some more. But at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say map ref. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to zoom and fit to the markers. So I'm going to say map reference dot current. So you basically get the current thing that we're pointing at. Right, and they have this very nice function on this map view called fit to supplied markers. Okay, and what I can do here is I can go ahead and put parentheses, and for the first argument it takes a markers string array. Now the first markers are going to be origin and destination. Now if you're wondering,
I always step inside this
markers, like that's
type
actually
of thread.
This one here, identifier origin. So I need a destination marker, right? So I'm actually going to quickly add that one in now as well, and then we'll carry on with that little top bit of code. So I'm actually going to copy a block in this exact same as the origin, except that we change the destination and then the identifier to be destination as well. Right? Now destination we get from here as well. It's saying that you need to import use effect, so let's go ahead and import our use effect like so. So we import that from React at the top. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit, so I've passed in the origin and the destination.
I told you before, I always step inside out in this thread.
Is actually going to be something, it's going to be something called the options, okay? Now what you can do here is you can pass in something called edge padding. Now this basically means when it zooms in, how much room around the side of the screen do you want to give towards, the top, left, middle, right, and all that. So I'm going to give everything like a 50, I think, right? That means that it won't zoom in like to the point where each marker is touching the side. I want to kind of pad it a little bit. Right? So hit save, and let's just give this a try. Right, so let's go ahead and do London, UK. Okay, cool. And let's go ahead and do something like Essex. Okay, boom. Aha! Check it out, guys. That's sick. All right, we have our pointer, which goes ahead and say destination is Essex, origin is London, and then if we go back and we change it, because it's inside of a use effect, which means that whenever these change, it will re-trigger off the value. Let's go ahead and say something like Birmingham, UK, boom. Now I'm sorry, but that is sick. Right, that is sick. You don't have to mess around with deltas and all this other stuff. It just works. Right? So if you've ever done React Native maps and you've ever got into that kind of sticky situation, that's how you get out of it. Right? You use fit to supplied markers and it will save the day and it will help you out. We're nearly at 1.7 likes. I think that deserves a punch to that. That was awesome, right? So this is looking pretty good at this point. Okay, so let's keep the pace, right? So we've got this down here, which is making it look pretty nice. Okay, so we've got this over here, and now let's go ahead and say, like, let's just magic it to London Bridge, or let's just say London Eye. So this goes and navigates over to London Eye. In that case, it kind of had a weird little kind of corner case, but let's do something like Scotland. Scotland, UK. And I love how it zooms out as well. You get like a nice little right? So the next part is picking the ride, and then obviously we're going to have some UI components down here to make it look and feel a lot more like Uber. Right? In fact, let's do that right now. Right? So over on this screen, we're going to have 2 extra buttons down here. So I want to have those ready done now. So we go back to our home screen at the moment. We're going to have these 2 extra fields down. These are pretty much UI components, right? They're not going to have any actually functionality to it. You can update this definitely on your side to have more functionality. But what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to call it nav favorites. And this is kind of like where it says go home or go here or go there. So we're going to go ahead and create a nav favorites component, right? So I'm going to go ahead and create this component over here. So I'm going to create nav favorites.js in our components folder, React Native functional exported with the style sheet. And then this is going to be where the favorites live. Now, what I want to do with this part is I want to have it as a flat list. So I've already got the data prepared for you. So I'm actually going to pop the data in on the screen. So you're going to have this data here. Now this data can actually be outside if you want. It doesn't have to block things up. So you can actually have that outside. And this data is just going to be 1 to 3. It's going to say home. It's going to say location, home, destination. And you can actually code this up. So when you press it, it actually enters in the destination. If you wanted to do that, make sure you're there. Sign up. Say I'm registered now. I'm signed up already. And remember, second link is just skill for BaseStation 101. Grab BaseStation 101. So hit that Airbnb sign up right now. It's going to be huge. I'm telling you. Right? So at this point, think about it now. Look at the quality of today. Right? It's just not going to stop. We also hit 1.7k likes, man. What is happening today? That is insane. I'm going to drop so much fire for React Native now. Honestly, you have no idea what is coming. I'm going to keep this coming. Right? So now over here, I'm going to actually have a flat list. Right? So I'm going to import it. I'm going to have a flat list, which is a self-closed component. Okay. Now for the flat list, remember, we have 2 things here. We have the data itself that we pass in, so passing the data. And then we also have something called the key extractor. In this case, the key extractor. Okay. Now the key extractor is where we pass in the item. We want the item ID to be the keys, which are the loops. And the final one was render. For this one, you get an arrow function. For each item. And then you destructure the item here. And what do we want to render each time? Well, we actually want to render a touchable opacity because it's going to be a touchable looking button. Okay? In this case, I'm going to do a touchable opacity. So and inside of it, I'm going to have an icon. And the icon in this case is just going to be, I'll show you exactly what it is in a second. But in this case, let me just do 2 tests. Say test or something, right? So before we get too ahead of ourselves, say yo, hit save. Okay, so we've got this out on the screen. So on the home screen now, I'm going to import my nav favorites. And we should see yo. And these are both touchable buttons, okay? The reason why we're going to do this is I'm also going to have this on this screen. So I'm going to have it in 2 locations. And we're also going to have a menu button that goes back to the menu in case you don't want to swipe back. So lots of things still yet to come. We're moving at a very good pace and we are going to crush this build. We are literally smashing it right now. And honestly, this is insane. Keep going, guys. I'm enjoying this so much. So for the nav favorites, we're also going to go ahead and say nav favorites. And then inside of here, all the text, we're going to have some icons here. Now, as you can see, what I've actually done here is each of the items themselves have icons attached to them. So what I'm doing is I'm using the icon set from React Native Elements. And I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, render out an icon with the following styles, which I'll explain. So we're going to render out the following icons. So tailwind, margin right of 4, rounded 4, background gray 300 and a padding of 3 with the icon from the icon. Now you can see we haven't actually got the icon. So what I can do is I can do ES6 construction, which breaks into the item and gets a couple of things. In this case, I want the location, destination, and the icon from these components. So all we're doing is we're basically breaking into this component and making it simple to go ahead and do it, right? So, Sunny, me and my university are massive students for you. Oh, that's awesome, dude. Nigel Carter says we are waiting for Uber to clone some for quite some time now. Yeah, honestly, that's it, man. Yeah, I love you guys. Honestly, I'm reading all the comments as well. Hit save, and now he says it doesn't have tailwind, so I always forget that. My bad. Don't hate me. Right, do that save. And now you can see, boom, we get these 2 massive things, right? Obviously, it's not that nice. So I want to clean this up a bit. So right now, default is columns, right? So what I'm actually going to do here is say style is tailwind backticks, and then here I'll say flex row. I don't want to have flex column. I'm going to say item should be centered. So I'm going to have more than one thing in that thing, and I'm going to say padding 5. Okay.
Okay, the final showdown.
Then I'm going to have a view, and I'm also going to show you some image tricks. Like view with some text inside. So view with text times 2. Boom. I want 2 text fields inside of a view. And the first one is going to say the location. And the second one is going to say the destination. And you can see, look, home, and now you can see where I'm going with this, right? So you see when on Uber you have that sort of, clickable sort of thing where you can have your favorites. So that work, home, work. And now let's just style these up. This one, the style of tailwind backticks. So font semi-bold. And it's going to be text which is large. And then for the destination, I'm going to say style with tailwind backticks. Text gray 500. The reason why I love tailwind is because you have such a nice color palette as well, which is really awesome. I really do like that. Now, if I want to have separators between items and classes, potentially add an additional sort of thing here, which we can add in is called item separator component. Here, what we do is we have an arrow function. This we can
he was easy to kill.
View a self-closing view, by the way, and this one is going to be interesting. I'm just going to say it's passing a style, and this style again I'm going to show you. You know, typically you can use just tailwind styles and all that. So I'm going to say BG gray 200. But if I did like a height here of 1, you see that's quite a thick line, and I can't go lower than that in the height for tailwind. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to combine tailwind styles with inline styles, and I'm going to say give it a height of 0.5. Notice how I made it an array syntax. Now we get a super thin line, which is a divider between the components. And if I did in another one now, the nice thing about a flat list is you see it will just add on to that list. Okay? Boom. Looks good. What's really nice about this is I can go ahead and click get a ride, and I want that to appear underneath here as well. Right, so what I can do now is I can go ahead and say, go to the map screen, and I go down to, let's go to our map screen. Now it's underneath, where's it gone? It's actually going to be in the, it's actually going to be in the navigate card. So navigate card, so inside a navigate card, at the bottom underneath this view, I'm going to have the nav favorites. And now, boom, it's there as well. So this is what I love about React in general. Look, with reusable components, completely upgrades the app, right? And it's completely reusable, which is sick. right? Which looks really nice at this point. So now we've got 2 things in there. Obviously, I'm going to set that as a challenge for you guys. It's not that hard. You know, you can do on press, whatever's in there, you can add that to make that destination, and then you can have a quick shortcut to it. I'm pretty sure you can figure out how to do that after watching this build, right? We've explained a few of the steps there. Pretty sure you guys can do that. You guys are awesome. Okay, so nav options are done. Now at this point, I want to have this bottom part here. Now before I do that, you see when I do Command J, that's an issue. And you're going to find this in a lot with React apps. That's not a good user experience at all. And imagine on a smaller phone, that's going to be a damn headache, right? So the way we fix this, in this case, because the entire thing is a component and I want the entire thing to shift up, we're going to use something called a keyboard avoiding view. Right now, this is one of those things that can become a bit of a nightmare when you're learning React Native. But I'm going to do it over at the app.js level just to be, you know, a completely basic introduction to this now. What you need to do is you need to import something called the keyboard avoiding view from React Native. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and here and pull in the keyboard avoiding view. Now, we don't actually need the style sheet here. Get rid of that. And we can get rid of the style sheet there. So we're importing keyboard avoiding view, and what we do is we're going to put it above the navigator level, so below the safe area provider for the icons, but we're going to put it there. Okay, I'm going to put all the navigator contents inside over here. Okay, almost at 1.8k likes, guys. Keep on smashing that thumbs up button if you haven't already, and let's keep this thing moving. Now you realize it can't see anything, and you're probably wondering, oh no, all that hard work. This is just because we need to go ahead and give it a flex of 1, right? So you can do it 2 ways, tailwind or this way. I'm just gonna give it a flex of 1, and that allows it to use up all the space that it possibly can. Okay, now what we can do at this point is if I do a Command K now, still a bit of an issue, right? So what you need to do is you need to give it a behavior attribute. Now, to make this work correctly on iOS, it handles slightly different to on Android. So that it takes a property called behavior. Now the way we sort of do this shift up motion in iOS is through padding, and the way it works on Android is through height manipulation. So the way that we can sort of sort of check this out is we can use something called platform, which is something which React Native gives us. So we can import this from React Native. We say if the iOS platform is being used, use padding, otherwise use the height. Okay. So that's the first thing. Now if I do this, and I do Command K, oh, that's nice. Right, so it actually moves it up now. So we have enough room to work with now. Right, so you know, imagine you can still type in, you still see all the search results. Looks awesome, works. Right. Now there is a final little difference you can do. You can actually add something called keyboard vertical offset. And the lucky charm for me in this case is to say if you're on iOS, do -64, which means afterwards we're going to have a little bottom component. And I kind of want to crop it out by 64, but on Android, they handle this for you. Hence we do 0, but on iOS, I need to do -64. Okay, but now if we do it, see how it crops in a little bit? And there's a reason why I want to do that, right? Because afterwards I want to add in one more UI element at the bottom. But we're getting there, guys. We are damn well getting there. This is amazing, right? Let's carry on. We still got the... I love this comment. So, Juan Pablo says, 1.7k likes, you break the matrix, honey. I love that you said that just at the moment where we are going to do the distance matrix work for the Google API. So, that's pretty sick. I have registered online. I can't wait. Thank you for the valuable lessons you're giving online. Thank you so much, dude. And guys, also while we're here, we're about to go on to finish off this one little navigator section. Then we're going to do the time traveling and all that stuff in a second. But comment right now if you've taken advantage of that second link, the Skillshare link, which is for React Basics 101. I recommend, even if you know your React, watch it. I would binge watch this stuff if I had it at the time when I was learning. So the second link in the description, free month of Skillshare that you get with my React Basics 101 that I've sorted out for you guys. So make sure you take advantage of it. Trust me, it will help you guys out. Okay. So at this point, we've done that work. So we're going to go back to the actual map screen and back to the navigate card. And inside the navigate card, we are now going to go ahead and do the following. So we're going to go ahead and drop a view underneath here. So underneath here, we're going to do a view. And this is basically going to say it's going to have a little rides button. Right? So this is And also, yeah, guys, if you enjoy the React Basics sort of content on Skillshare, please drop a positive review. Massively helps other students find and reach it when you do that, because it pushes it higher in the list and it helps us grow. And it helps me do this full time, so would really appreciate that. Thank you so much, guys. Right, we're gonna have a view underneath here, right? And now inside of this view, we're gonna have two buttons, two touchable opacities. One is gonna say, rides, and one is gonna say Uber Eats. This is how they do that. Okay, so at this point, it says keep grinding, this has actually got a lot of Redux in it, that's why I kind of think it's intimidating to overlay. So let's carry on. So I'm going to have a first one inside of it is going to be a touchable opacity. Okay. This touchable opacity is going to have an icon and some text inside of it. Now this is going to be relatively simple, so I'm just going to pop it in. An icon, which is going to be from Font Awesome, which is a picture of the car. Color is white, size 16, and text is going to be touch white, which has styling, text center, and say white. Okay. If you save this, it's going to freak out again on imports. So I'm going to import the icons above. Hit save what else I'm going to do. This is white at the moment, right? So the touchable opacity is actually not a different color. So in here I'm going to say style equals, and this one's going to be tailwind, and this one is going to have flex, and it's going to be flex row. And to make sure that you can see it right now, I'm going to do BG black so you can see what I'm doing. And now you can see that rides comes up. Okay, so this is going to be a width of 24. I'm going to give the padding on the x-axis a 4 and a padding on the y-axis of 3. You can see it already gets nice, and we'll make it rounded 4. So that's why I love Tailwind, guys. It's so nice to get stuff like that working as smooth and slick as it is like that, right? So it's just so quick to do stuff like that, right? And then I'm going to have another touchable opacity. This is going to follow the exact same similar approach. I'm literally just going to copy the touchable opacity right now and chuck it down here. And you can pretty much go ahead and pause the video and see the difference. Only difference here is I didn't do BG black. Instead, I made the text of the color, the icons black. And I didn't do BG white or text white, sorry, yeah, I just did black text. That's why we got this nice view here. Now this bottom section by default flexes column, hence why it's stacking up. On the view here, I want to do style equals tailwind, classic. I'm going to say flex row. So that's the first thing I want to do, flex row. You can see it goes into a row now. BG white. Right? Oh, this is a nice song. Yeah. I'm going to do justify evenly. Justify evenly. I think I have the best coding playlist. I'm just going to say it out. I'm going to throw it out there and start a war. Right? I think I have the best coding playlist. I take pride in my coding playlist. Right? Because it's just a fun, playlist to go ahead and go with. Right, so justify evenly. And then I'm going to go ahead and say padding Y of 2. Margin top from auto. So I want it to basically take up the majority of the room at the top. If we don't have margin top auto, just stick above, I want it to push all the way to the bottom. I want a border on the top. And then I'm going to say border gray 100. Right? Border gray 100. Okay. And there you can see now we've got a nice little border at the top as well. So you see how nice that looks. Now, rides looks a bit squashed there, doesn't it? Right? So for the rides, what I actually want to do is we have the icons and stuff like that over there. Right, so I actually want to fix that a little bit because that looks a bit squashed up right now. So I'm going to check. Can I put it slightly different here? I think I'll just skip this step. Let me just go and see. There's a difference there. Oh yeah. So for the actual touchable opacity, you justify. And then you can see now the rides. Now when I click this button, I want to navigate to the next screen as well. Right? So for this one, I actually want to do on press. Right, for that button, I'll say on press equals. And what this will do is it will say navigation. Navigate. And we haven't actually imported this one, so I can't see it. And it's ride options card. So this will also take you to the next screen. Right, so now you can click on rides and it'll take you to the next screen as well. So you see that? You get a nice little wides as well as when you do this. So London, I've actually done London. So it's really good. I can do like London to Birmingham. See? No. Okay, so now we're moving over to the ride option screen. So the really fun part now is where we calculate the total travel time, total mileage, and in addition, we're also going to say what you want to ride with Uber X, Excel, and Uber Lux. And I've actually implemented my own little custom pricing, which is that the further away you ride, the more it will charge you and so forth. And then we also have a third pricing parameter. So, imagine sometimes you're on Uber and you see that message where it says, it's actually quite busy at the moment, so they're offering surcharges. So I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So, it's going to be fun, guys. Nearly at 1.8k likes. Holy. Right, let's carry on. Wow. Okay. So for this one, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this screen. Okay. So this screen is actually going to be the ride options part. This one is being rendered from the map screen under our second stack navigator, which is why I can swipe back and forth like this. So it's how the ride options. I'm going to go ahead and set up the stack. So first thing is, I'm going to have a safe area view, because remember we have I'm going to import that in here. Sometimes it doesn't work properly, so there we go. Okay. Then I'm going to have, at the top, I'm going to have a sort of, our own custom header. So I'm actually going to have a bit of text here saying select a ride. Select a ride. This will be centered, and then we're also going to go ahead and center this out. So I'm going to say style, which tick, text, center. Okay. Padding wide 5, text should be extra. Okay. Go. Oh, nice, dude. Thank you so much, Storytime Web Design. $5 donation. Just sign up for the Skillshare class. Thanks for putting this content out there. So appreciate you. Thanks for that. If anyone else wants free React Basics 101, second link in the description. Go and enjoy it right now for free. Alright? Just gonna help you out and appreciate you. Thank you so much for that. So you can see select your right. So if I do London, Scotland, okay, select the line. Now as you can see that there's a slight background difference, white and grey. I'm going to go ahead to so here for safe area view, I'm going to say style, which will be tailwind, backtick, UG white, max chrome. Okay, and then now you can see that should, and just to prove it's 500. There you go. Oh, it's stuff. No, that's great. Perfect. Right? So we got that. Now we're going to do 1.8k done. Oh my goodness! It took that a bit. Oh my god, that's insane. That is insane. Jay, if you're watching right now, holy. Oh wow. Let's carry on. Okay. So sick. Alright, select the right. So I'm going to go ahead and we have the text up here. And I'm going to surround this actually in a view. I'm going to move this into a view. Because on this one, I'm actually going to have a touchable button. So it's a touchable opacity. And this is going to be a button with an icon inside of it, which is going to be like a back sort of arrow. Right? So it's going to have a back button, which is going to navigate back. Right? So touchable opacity, and that's going to have an icon inside of it. The icon is going to be GeForce. Awesome. So we pop that in. So. Okay. And now you can see. And thank you. KGF, I just had a 3-hour call with the Pool Center regarding website, and honestly think you're better than development in the whole team. Thank you, I appreciate that. I think we can hit 2,000 likes today. I really genuinely think we can hit 2,000 likes today. Guys, if you think we can do that, that would blow my damn mind. So let's do this. Right? So at the top I need my navigate, because you see we've got this nice little kind of carousel there. But I want it to, carrot. I want this to kind of look a bit nicer. So this view should actually be styled out. Now, where do So what I'm going to do is for this touchable opacity, I'm going to say style equals tailwind. And I'm going to do absolute position. So I'm going to do absolute. Say top should be 3. And I'm going to go ahead and say left should be 5. That's it. You can see it. Wait for it to move. Touchable opacity style. Absolute. Oh, oops. There we go. I messed that up. So it should be tailwind. Tailwind. There we go. And now you see it moves over a little bit. Nice. And then I'll do padding of 3. And I'll do rounded 4. Because, I don't know. Yeah, I want something there actually. When I click it, right, when I click this out, I actually want this to be, I want it to take me back. Right? So, in order to do that, what I do is I say on press. Okay? So, what I do is I say on press, and then I go ahead and say an arrow function, I do navigation standard, and navigation is my navigate objects and navigation. Also use and navigation. And then here I'll go ahead and say this. I can say navigation dot. And here you can go back and all sorts of other stuff. In this case, what I'm going to do is very clever. You can navigate to the previous mode, it will handle it for you. So I'll say navigate, and then we're actually going to go back to the navigate card. So check this out. Now I can either swipe back or I can
cinematic music.
Right now,
it's really strange.
Let's have that. Absolute top left 3, blah blah blah, power 4. Okay. Then we've got touchable opacity, BG flex grow, touchable opacity. Okay. That's pretty good. Okay, there we go. So, weird little fix there actually. I had a, yeah, I found, yeah, this was a weird one. If you add it, if you don't have these curly braces, oh no, it was there, so you don't need that there, just get stuck. Okay, so now you can see I click a little, so we've got a little custom header here. So you see, you can do it that way as well. Several ways of, fixing issues. Okay, so you need to render a list of cars that you can potentially, access and all that stuff. So how do I do that? Okay. Now what we can do is we can go ahead and say for the flat list. I'm going to actually have a flat list underneath now. This view, I'm actually going to have a flat list. I'm going to import it. And this is self-closed component. So similar to the exact flat list we have used before. And here I'm going to say constant data equals. So this data is going to be UberX. You see each one has a different ID. Mine is just going to be unique. In this case, I'm UberX 1 itself on my section is about 79. The title of each is going to show UberX Deluxe. The multiplier, this is going to be the cost multiplier. So for an UberX, it's going to be the normal cost. The UberX Plus is going to be 1.2 times the cost. The Uber Lux is going to be 1.75, which will cost more to be a luxury car. So each of the images, I've got to save you a bit of hassle. Okay. So at this point, we've got the data. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the data through for the flat list. So I'm going to say the data is here. Okay. And how do we actually render this data out? Okay. So I can have the key extractor firstly because we want to get our keys. And we're going to say the item ID is going to be keys. Okay. And then for the rendering, this is always a render item. And then for each one, remember we get the arrow function where we return, and we destruct an item, and that item is going to be each of the things in that list. And then inside of here, what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and say a touchable. So this is a bit where you've got to pay attention. It's going to be a touchable opacity firstly. So touchable opacity. And this, I'm just going to go ahead and say text and then I'll say car. So now you can see that 3 cars are rendered out on the screen. So we know something's working at this point. That's what I would say you should do. However, close to 1.9 lakhs as well, guys. So smash the thumbs up. If you're still watching, hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying this. Let's keep on going. We're so close to the end now, okay? So we've got the car. Okay. Obviously, I don't want to just say the car. I want to have an image firstly. So for the image, we've used an image before, so I'm going to go ahead and save a little bit of time. Pop an image in here. The style is going to be a width and a height of 100. The resize is going to be contained to the aspect ratio. source is going to be an image of the item. Now I don't want to do item.image, I'm going to destructure the item here. Say ID, title, multiplier, image, right? And if you are destructuring but you still want the item, you can actually get the item still like that. So many of you may not know that trick. You can still get the item if you do that. Okay? So you can destructure the properties and still get the item. And for the image component, I'm actually going to import that from React. There we go. And let's go ahead and go from London to Scotland. Okay. And there you go. Got my cars. Nice. That looks pretty slick, right? Nice. This is looking good, guys. Looking good. Almost a 1.9k likes. That is insane. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we've got these image tags, and then I'm going to have the actual sort of title, so Uber XL, Uber Lux, and so forth. So at this point, I'm going to have a view, and this view is going to have the text. So I'm going to show you a little image trick. Rather than saying that, I can say view with text times by 2. So the title should go in here. The title should go in here, and then here I just want to have just a travel time. So we're going to estimate that afterwards. So we're going to have UberX, travel time, and you see there's a scrollable list. Okay. So for this view, I want to do the following. So firstly, for the touchable opacity, you want to style this up a bit. Because right now it doesn't look that good. Like style, tailwind. Everything should be in a row, because right now it's kind of in a column, so that looks better. I want it to be in the center, so I say items center, and it goes central. I say justify the items between themselves, so justify between, save, and then you go. It kind of pushes it apart. Alright, so at this point we do a padding exception. So it looks a bit strange at this point, but I'll show you why we do this. So this isn't the end of the style routine. So panning exception, and then I'm also going to say, okay, so I'm going to show you afterwards as well. If you select it, how you can highlight the sort of selected option. I'll show you how to do that in a sec as well. Okay. So we've got the title, the travel time, and then we're also going to have the money aspect of it, okay? So I'm also going to have a final text thing over here, which will say something like, just to say £99, but we want to make that dynamic afterwards, right? So for this text, I'm actually going to make it a style, and this is going to be Tailwind Text XL, so it's going to be a little bit bigger text XL. This is why I like Tailwind, it's so fast to style, right? Otherwise it was huge if you didn't have anything. Now for this one, the other view, I'm going to pull that a little bit more left, so I'm going to give that negative margin left. The tailwind, negative margin left of 6, pulls it a little bit more that way. Just a nice little title, right? For the title, little style tweak here, tailwind, I'm going to go ahead and give it that back, say text extra large, and I'm also going to give it a font of semi-bold, and then you can see boom, you get a nice bigger option. Okay, looking good, guys, and okay, it's looking slick. Right, so Sunny seems so tired. No, I'm good, dude. I'm full of energy. We're nearly at 1.9k live. I could not be more awake. Water break. Okay, which is class. They're kind of good for the environment. Right. UberX, Uber XL, Uber Lux. Okay, we've got the 3 different options at this point. And obviously we're going to plug in the Google distance matrix, that way we can see what the travel time is, how many miles we're going to be traveling, and then calculate a price accordingly, right? All of this to come, so it's a lot of fun, right? Stick with me, guys. Okay, so at this point, we're so close, by the way, so close. Right? So at this point, almost 1.9. Oh my god, if we hit 2k, guys, I'll scream this place down, right? So at this point, we're going to have to do the following. So when I click it, how do I get it to show me which one's highlighted? So when you have a flat list, you can do a pretty cool little thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a piece of state to keep track of what's selected. So if I selected settings, this is basically preparing a piece of state which by default is going to be normal, so nothing is selected. And if you don't understand this, feel free to check out my second link in the description. I was thinking when you press it, you want to say, press one of those rows, it's going to set the selected item to this. Right? And there's a reason why we do this. Right? We need to import a use state. There you go. Save. Go back to our screen. Let's just do London. Let's go Scotland. Okay. Oh, what have I done here? Use state on. Okay. Just do it all the time. London. Okay. Scotland. Okay. Look how nice the flow is, right? We're taking it for granted that this was all done right now. So sick. Iran in the house. What's up, dude? Right, so you go. If we click this now, it's actually storing the state for the selected car or the item, right? So what we can do now is we can actually apply a conditional style. So after this, I can say, okay, if the ID of the thing that we're mapping through is equal to the selected, and something might not be selected, so I'm going to optional chain it. Selected ID, then I want to apply BG Ray 200. Boom. Look at that, guys. How sick is that? And now you have a selected thing. And if you're wondering, oh, you could have just used the ID, you know, you could have just set the ID in there. No, because I want to use that information at the bottom afterwards to show which car you've selected. Okay, so that was damn pretty cool, right? Nigel Carter says, when you hit 2K, you would decide on completing part 2 of the app reads. Well, you know, maybe, we'll see. I think we're about to hit 1.9. I think we can maybe hit 2K. I think we can do this. Okay, so we've got this happening right now. Select the ride. Awesome stuff. We can go back and forth. So clean. Honestly, so clean. All right. So at this point, we're going to have the little button at the bottom that we need to implement. Okay. So that button at the bottom is going to be simply, it's going to be outside of the touchable opacity. Right. So we've got the touchable opacity. And what we have here, no, sorry, we've got the flat list over here. There we go. We've got the flat list over here. And we're going to have a view. Okay, so inside of this view, we're going to have a touchable opacity. Touchable opacity, right? And this touchable opacity is going to have a piece of text inside of it, which is going to say, choose, you know, choose a car. Right? In this case, if you have a car selected, it's going to say selected dot, because it may not be, sorry, optional chaining, it may not be selected. Selected dot title. Now, if you see down here, see how when I select a car, it changes. All right, so that's going to be the basis of the button. All right, that's going to be the basis of the button. All right, so now what we're going to do, you can see how this is starting to fly together, right? And this is the beauty of Tailwind, React Native, everything coming together. Tailwind dash dash, and we're going to say text should be centered. Text should be centered. Text should be white. And I want to do text should be extra large. You're probably wondering, why would you do that? You can't see the button now. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say the style is going to be Tailwind BG Black. BG, oh, I like it. Okay. There you go, black button. There you go. Nice. Look at that. Starting to look better. And then we're going to say the padding on the y-axis should be 3, and we should also have a margin of 3. You can have it touching the side if you want. I mean, it looks pretty cool. I'm going to have a little bit of a margin so it's not touching. And because we're in the safe area, it's not going to go down here. Okay. Oh, Seattle in the house. What's up, Daniel? Guys, if you're new, remember, first link in the description. Next Tuesday, we have a huge React to Airbnb challenge. 5 days of me coding React and Airbnb. So if you're new or anything like that, hit that, you know, registration link and let me know. And guys, sign up. £10,000 worth of prizes. So it's gonna be so much. It's gonna be so much fun. Okay.